Y'all, you are not going to believe what this Florida pastor did this past Sunday. It's unreal. And it was in the house of the Lord. 62-year-old Monty Chitty was arrested on Monday on several charges, including the actual battery of a minor. He was released on a $75,000 bond just before 10 p.m. that night. Why his bond is so low and why he was released after what I'm about to tell you he did, I don't know. Monty is the pastor, or I should say was, of First Baptist Marathon. He also reportedly lives on the church property. The alleged assault, as I said, happened this past Sunday. Police said they were first notified of this after somebody overheard the victim telling her grandmother what had happened. Monty then calls the police department himself about an hour after the alleged incident, because he was scared that the girl was going to make allegations about him. He claimed that he intended to take the girl home to her grandmother while he was out delivering meals to the homeless. He then stated that she got drunk, so he allowed her to sleep on the couch in the church library. He told police that he left while he was taking a phone call that afternoon, and he said while doing deliveries at Marathon City Marina, he saw with the victim with her grandmother and walked towards them, and at that point, the girl began to scream, and he left. I guess that's why he was saying he was scared she was about to make allegations, because she screamed. I don't know. The girl, however, ended up telling police that Monty gave her what she thought was a spiked drink. She stated after she drank what she thought was vodka, she felt weak and couldn't walk, and she eventually lost consciousness at the church. Authorities said that she woke up to Monty performing oral sex on her. Unreal. She stated that when he was done and left, she got up, ran, and contacted her grandmother to come pick her up. She also showed text messages that were from Monty to police. The messages came from the same number that Monty used to contact the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. He used a cat emoji and was talking about the girl's genitals. He was complimenting them. He then told her, "I prefer you pass out after I play, not before." He then says, "You can't even remember what I did." He later asked her what she remembered, and he described what he did to her. After he told the girl how he abused her, he then said, "Straighten up, so-and-so is here." And whoever that so-and-so's name was redacted, but it states that he is married to a woman, and that was the woman's name who was allegedly on the text message. So I guess he was like, "Straighten up, the wife's here." And he then complimented her genitals again. Do people not know phone records are very easy to obtain by authorities? I don't understand this. She replied, "IG," which is short for "I guess," and Monty replied, "Just say thank you." He then went on to compliment the teenage girl's BREASTS, encouraged her to sit on the couch in a way that made it easier for him to perform oral sex on her. He later ended up giving authorities consent to search his phone. Authorities said the text messages matched the ones on the victim's phone, and that the text messages also revealed that he admitted to giving her vodka. He admitted to sending the text messages, but then revoked his right to an attorney and then denied any sexual conduct or allegation. Deputies would end up taking Monty into custody early Monday morning. The victim was given an sexual assault evaluation. The results will be sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for processing. Monty also faces charges of lewd and lascivious behavior and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. This is absolutely just disgusting and unbelievable. Guys, who can we trust if we can't even trust a pastor? Or these teachers? I just don't get it.
I just don't get it. Jeez. I just don't get it either. It's the Lord of Ord, the Fortean Digital Shaman. Welcome to the Loose Farm. So, I don't know. Eddie, you're there? You're there. You have to be there.
I am here. I am here. Give me about 5 more minutes, man.
All right, man. So Eddie's doing the old handoff. Those of us who separated, divorced, or whatever with children know what that old handoff is. Oh, yeah. You guys probably can't see this, but I guess I can blow it up, can't I? I certainly could try. Maybe you can see it now. Egregore. I know I did this the last show. I think it's just fascinating. And while he's doing this thing, I'm going to think about this. I'm thinking about what's been going on for the past 2, 3, how many thousand years? Egregore is an esoteric concept that refers to a non-physical entity or thought form that emerges from the collective thoughts and emotions of a specific group of people. Egregores are an energy complex as well that have been around as long as humanity. Religious egregores are considered the most powerful egregores. An example of a religious egregore is one created by the Psalms, and which expresses thought feelings expressed by ancient Jews. I know something else is an egregore. It's Jesus. Turns out this thing they call Jesus that I used to believe in, and so I have to make my amends. And you might be asking, why are you doing this, Mike? Well, I spent years promoting this egregore, and then I finally realized I was promoting, at the very least, a thought form. But maybe even something worse than that. Something much worse than that. Maybe there is the spirit realm, and maybe I help promote a very awful thing, a creature of some sort, a spirit, or I help to promote it. You know what I mean? And I'm here to say my apologies and swallow a whole bunch of crow and make my amends. That's why I keep doing this. I know a year or so ago, I was still pushing the egregore, but today, I know better. And so I know this has caused a lot of people to leave the channels, but you know what? I call myself a truther. So if I find the truth, I have to go where the truth leads me. And if it, you find out that, you've been wrong, what do? Do you do what everyone else does and just put your heads in the sand? Or what do you do? Do you just deny it? Do you just slowly fade away? Or do you say, holler, listen, this shit that we're worshiping, this thing called JC, Jesus the Christ, it's an egregore. It's a Greek demigod. At the bare minimum, it's an archetype, an amalgamations of earlier archetypes of the Greek mythology, Roman Greek mythology, with that splattering of Hebrew mythology. These mythologies at times have truth, and other times there's hardly any truth in it, right? It's not all just make-believe, because there's magic behind it. There's power behind these names they discovered, especially when you convince the faithful in crowd, if you will. You know what I mean? The oligarchs and the managerial class, which includes the priests, of course. Don't forget that, that, hey, listen, this is the new agenda. This is what's going to keep our empire glued together. We're going to give the peasants a new God. It's going to be like the old God, but a new God. And in time, in a few generations, people will forget about the old gods and they'll believe in this one God. It's just a matter of indoctrination and brainwashing. And those that, go against our new agenda, this imperial cult called Christianity, guess what happened to them? Well, they all got eliminated. And I see that a lot of people are not going to want to hear what I have to say. But there's one of you out there that does need to hear what I have to say, and what my friend Jeff has to say, and what my friend Eddie here has to say. And that is, you know what? We're in a pickle of hurt. We're in a bad place. And a big part of the reason why is this thing called Christianity. Now, here's part of how it works too, right? So they give us a society that's totally dysfunctional and screwed up, right? And it's true. Everyone knows this. The politics are messed up. The schools are messed up. Our families are messed up. Workplace, everything's messed up, right? And you know what? And inevitably, because of that, then the worst out of people comes out, right? And you know what? So the people, those who have a conscience, they'll run to like Christianity, Roman Catholicism, right? It could be any form of Judeo-Christianity, and the Mohammedanism is just not any better, right? So the Abrahamic faith, and I'm not saying the other religions are any good either. Don't get me wrong about that, because I don't think any religion is good at this point. And funny thing is, when I was a kid, I knew this. For some reason, I had to go full circle. I had to go from realizing this as a kid, going through life, getting the shit kicked out of me through life, right? And then having to then run to, because they know this is what's going to happen, right? Because it's all designed this way, right? The whole place is designed to force you to force you into one of their cults. They call it Christianity, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the fact of the matter is that if it wasn't that, it'd be something. This thing they call it Christianity, right? You see people, they love bomb you. You walk through the front door. There's the music, the atmosphere. You read that book, and they tell you to read this verse and that verse. Of course, you think it's about you, and it has zero to do with you at all. But because they lead you to these verses, and of course we're not trained properly, or even to how to read the Bible the way it should be read, and its audience relevancy, and the time period that it was actually written, who the audience really was for these supposed letters and books and blah, blah, blah. And then you find out it has nothing to do with you at all. And then you're like, shit, here I am again. You mean this whole time I've been playing make-believe and I've been on my own anyways, and I've been... Or if I have not been on my own, then there's something else that's not what they're telling me that's with me. And it's bad stuff. Now, people say, I don't want to hear about this. And I know a lot of you would consider yourself a Christian, but then you go, one hand we say, we care about the truth, right? Whether it's the Bigfoot community or whatever. And in the next breath, if we hear something that it challenges us, we run. Instead of challenging the message, we run. We don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? It happens everywhere. It's quite fascinating when you think about it. Human behavior, we're bizarre creatures, that's for sure. But I think the reason a lot of it is because they designed a system that has taken away our humanity. And so we're desperate. We become, at times in our lives, we become desperate. We need to go somewhere, right? We can't afford $150 to go see a shrink. So what do? We go to the closest thing. The thing that we've been brainwashed to go to all along. Every street corner in America, it just about has a frickin' church of some sort or another. It's like Baskin Robbins, instead of 36 or whatever, 8 flavors, it's 45,000 flavors just in Christianity alone. What the hell? You ever ask yourself the question why they legalized or the religious freedom, and they pushed it so hard? Of all the freedoms they could push on you and they pushed religious freedom. Then the next thing is then quote unquote political freedom, until you find out that's just theater too. In fact, it turns out that they've created a situation where we've been living our lives in fiction. This is a shocking reality when you come to terms with that your existence is fictional. You'll say you'll fight back, you'll resist it until you really get honest about it, and you really ask the question, is that true? Is my life really based on fiction? And you damnedest freaking thing. You remember when you were little kids and you were playing and say, when was recess, right, or whatever it may be, and there's a sandbox. Maybe your school has a sandbox, or a sewing set or whatever, and there's a pecking order and all that kind of stuff. And there's always the one kids, and they're always the ones, and they're like the ones that say, "Well, this is the game we're going to play," and it's up to you to join it, right? And most of the kids want to be cool and all that, so they join the game, right? Just join the game, right? And you're sitting there, that's a stupid game, right? You've ever been that kid that says, you're just looking at it, that's a really stupid game you guys are playing. I don't want to play that game. But, you're also, you're the one that's all by yourself and all that. There's nowhere else to go. So you go back to you join the game anyways. And then you find out real fast about the pecking order within the cliquish nature of things. Are you one of the cool kids, or one of the losers? You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. That's how this religious thing works too, right? See, and of course we live in a day and age where many people now are questioning Christianity, as far as it being a religion for them, or that it's even real. But there's a bigger problem here. That is, why are we allowing it to exist if we know it's freaking not real? And then if we see the behavior that comes from it, the exploitation of little children and you and I in many different ways, then we just sit by and just la-di-da-di-da, this is the way it's supposed to be. And so what should we do about it? Well, the best thing to do is expose it and keep on exposing it. And everyone should start exposing it. Who knows there's something wrong with it? We all deserve something better. Everyone does. We've been abused. We've been lied to. We've been deceived, and we've been exploited. And that's a terrible thing. Now, I know most of you aren't going to want to hear this, but that one person who may hear it now or in the future needs to hear it, needs to know that they're not alone, that it's okay for them to walk away with it. It's okay for them. There's nothing wrong with you. If you see all these things that are wrong with the institution we call religion, you know what I mean? And you're probably being like me, like you're not allowed to talk about this stuff. You just shut up and mind your own business, whatever, right? What do you know? You're just a kid, right? Or you're just a young person or whatever. Who are you, right? But I knew. I still fell into it because there was no other options. At least no one ever taught me, even as a grown man in my 40s, I still didn't quite get it right. It was always been me the whole time. And that which might be with me. And you say, well, why do I care about this? Well, you should.
The reason why Jesus hadn't come is because people are not giving the way God told them to give. You see what I'm saying? I mean, when you understand it, you can speed up the time. I was on television. He said, I heard you was a millionaire. I said, that's not right. That's not true. He said, yes, it is. I said, no, it's not. Multi. Now, add that to it, you'll be all right. Oh, he couldn't handle that. He liked to have had a fit. And I said, you mess with me, I'll buy this station and I'll fire you. Yeah. Oh, he didn't like that, did he? That was a little fleshy, but it felt good. Just did, And I really believe this. If people would call this number and put this victory all over the world on every available voice, every available outlet, the Father, he would say, Jesus, go get him. Because you see, he wants to see us as much as we want to see him. You see what I'm saying? And so what has hindered all these things is because people are not doing in the financial realm, because we live in an economic world, what God's called them to do.
Multi.
Yeah, and just think, if you're the Vatican, then you're trillions of dollars. And they all control us, right? And they use that religion is a big part of it, right? And this thing called an egregore, it's kind of disturbing when you think about what an egregore is. then you overlay that over Jesus, and you're like, shit, that's exactly what they did to us. They caused the you know what? It doesn't have to be everybody. You know what I mean? So what? So say 50% of the United States and Americans say associate themselves with a Christian. Maybe it's greater, maybe it's less. We'll just go with that number, right? That 50%, you know, I mean, they're walking around absolutely even more clueless than you. That's a disturbing realization, right? And so what are we going to do about it? You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we got to chisel away at this system, this matrix that's been deceiving us. And Christianity is a big part of it. Overview. In the magical or other occult traditions, it is typically seen, this would be the egregore, of having an independent existence. But in other kinds of esotericism, it is merely the collective mind of the religious community, either esoteric or exoteric. That would be you and I. That's what we get. We get the exoteric. The inner circles, they get the esoteric. And this is how this organized crime works too, by the way. You know, I've brought this up a couple times and bring it up again, right? So when it comes to this thing about organized crime, what's the glue that keeps the guys together? What keeps the gang together? The secrets. It's the secrets that keep them together. And when they share those secrets and they have these oaths, and they say, if you tell anybody about the secrets, then they have, because you made this oath with them, they have a legal right to do something to you about it. Maybe take you out permanently. Maybe do something to one of your family members. All right. And this is the same way what's going on with the Christianity. Now, because it has such a strong holding or here in North America, right? Americas, it doesn't matter. The West, right? You don't necessarily have to do the violent stuff as much as you used to have to do, right? But there was a long time. That's exactly what it was. The religion and the mafiosa work hand in hand until they took over completely the governments, which didn't take very long for them to do that, by the way. And so then you realize, that's exactly what's going on. The religion and the mafiosos, the cabals, these groups of people whose sole objective is to maintain as much of their control and power that they have for them and the group, right? So, but because we're the peasants and we were given a public school education and all this other stuff, you know, we're just like, you know, after 30, 40 years of getting the shit kicked out, you're like, maybe there is something to this Jesus, because my God, you know, my life sucks, right? So then you go to the church and you have this magical thing happen. You know, it's this love bombing thing and this, you know, and they just, open arms, right? And you feel so accepted and so welcome, right? But you're one of those people that asks questions and you think a little. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to think a little, right? And I'm living proof of that. So, and you start asking questions, and what happens? I mean, people get in a tizzy. First of all, they can't answer the question. They feel threatened, so they tell you to go to the pastor or the Sunday school teacher or this person. And then you listen to them, and then you're like, well, what they're saying and what I'm reading in that book are two different things. And then you start asking more and more questions. The next thing you know, you're out the door because you're considered a troublemaker. You know what I mean? Now, most people just go along with this, just like they did, you know, when they're playing in recesses on the playground or in that sandbox, right? They just go along with the more popular, you know, more strong personality people, right? We do the censorship to each other. And we don't want to know the truth, do we? For the most part, I don't think most of you guys don't want. I don't think you want to know the truth. You just want to be entertained. But some of us actually do want to know the truth about something, at least. Something. Right? So you know what? You really dig into this thing called Christianity, right? You start studying it and studying it and studying the Bible and studying the many different organizations. You start finding these horror stories, and you look into a few of them. And then you look into a few more, and then you look into a few more, and a few more, and a few more, and then you're like, there's something serious wrong with Christianity. But Jesus is still, he's still, you know, my hope. He's still my king. He's still my savior. And so then you double down on Jesus, right? And then you start really try to study Jesus and understand Jesus. And then you start finding out there's something seriously wrong with Jesus. Like Jesus is some kind of dark egregore, some kind of evil spirit. Because every time anybody praises this thing, bad things happen. They'll tell you otherwise. They'll tell you that, oh no, I mean, and I did the same thing. I actually believed it happened until I had a conversation. And that conversation made me realize that the reason why those spirits left me was not because I kept on calling on the name of Jesus. It's just because I got really mad, rose up, started asserting some of my authority, F-bombing the hell out of it, and then it freaking left. Now, how is that supposed to happen? But you know what? At the time, I couldn't accept it. I couldn't accept that that was that simple answer. That no. So what I ended up doing is then I ended up reading the Bible all the way through twice on the internet, and the New Testament 6 times. Whether on TalkShoe or on my old YouTube channel, I even tried again in the newer one. But you know what? After a while, something does not feel right here. You know what I mean? So I decided to go to back into the Old Testament one more time. And when I got into this Old Testament, no, like, shit. I mean, every freaking thing in the book of Genesis is evil. How am I going to get any? I mean, I got through halfway through the book of Genesis, and I'm like, I can't handle this anymore. This is nothing but evil. I mean, this thing, as long as if you're, you know, a pedophile, or if you're, you know, having sex with your children, you know what I mean. Everything's good. You know, if you're, you know, a murderer, you know. Wait a minute, I thought that the people are supposed to be judged for their evil. Apparently, that, according to this God in the Old Testament, Yahweh, it doesn't think that what you and I think is evil. They told us otherwise. And then, you know, then you go back again and you really look at Jesus, and you realize nothing in the Old Testament even talks about Jesus. Literally. We try desperately to fit a few verses here and there from Isaiah or there or whatever, but it's never talking about Jesus. It's always talking about somebody else. And then you look at that again, you realize Jesus never kept any of the laws. Did you know that? This guy that's supposed to be, this entity, this being was supposed to be like the worthy, pure, sacrifice. There's nothing in the scriptures to talk about him keeping the laws. In fact, he's breaking the laws every single time. It's pretty damn wild when you think about it. So then you really start looking into this stuff, and it's just like, Jesus didn't come to bring peace. He came to bring a sword, to divide families up, to divide father from son and mother-in-law from daughter-in-law, and blah, blah, blah. And if you don't hate him, if you don't hate your family and yourself, you can't be one of his followers. What the hell's going on here? It's going from evil to even worse and even more evil. The Old Testament is damn fucking evil. When you read it, I mean, if you're a woman, I don't know how you possibly could tolerate that book. Secondly, then you take that and then you take it into the New Testament, knowing what you know, that I know, and you read that, you're like, holy crap, that whole book is evil. It's all about a certain time in the 70 AD, and the destruction, the judgment of Jerusalem. How the evening, here's some of that esoteric stuff that they hide in the books. 66 books. in the Old and New Testament. When was the end of the Jewish age of the Jerusalem and the temple and everything? It started in 66 AD. You think that was a coincidence? I don't think so. And then it just magically happens that the end of it was in 70 AD. And look at all the 70s numbers in the Old and New Testament. So we got 40s and 66 and 70 and all these numbers that they throw in there. And then they really messed us. And they've known. It's fascinating when you really see what's going on. The layers of mind control that are associated with that book and with this religion. And it's more than just within the book and within the religion. It just crosses in so many lines and boundaries, gematria. I'm reading this book, Waking Up from the Matrix, right? And he was talking about the number 33, and he's going to be talking about other numbers. Right now he's talking about 666. And of course, I know what Eddie knows. We know that that was something that happened in the past. But since that time, what they've done is they've figured all sorts of new systems to and I'm sure that if from my observations today, that there are literally people making up shit right now on the internet, all sorts of stuff. And I imagine most of them actually believe the nonsense coming out of their mouths, right? And then it turns into something like wildfire, right? And this starts feeding the system, the beast, right? They start making money off in their name and their reputation. And the next thing you know, their ego's really puffed up, and they're not going to let go of this money machine, this thing, they're not going to do that. So they make up all this other stuff. But you look at like gematria and all that. Well, how they're using it today in the mainstream media and in the news and in articles and 33 of this and 33 of that, and you know what I mean, and on it goes, and 13 people this and 11, you know what I mean, and 19, and they're just playing games with us, people. That's what they're doing. At the top, they know that all this shit is shit, and they want you not to know that it's shit. The problem I'm seeing too is in the Bigfoot community. I don't know where to go with all this stuff about interviewing guys in the Bigfoot community, because I don't think they're going to teach me a damn thing at this point. But I do see just two things going on. A very Hegelian dialectic. It's the same thing that's going on with the Christian church and with all these other things. So in the Bigfoot community, you have the flesh and blood group and the woo, right? The New Age, and it's turned real New Age, by the way. And so that's the Hegelian dialectic, right, left paradigm. It turns out that neither group is really right about what they're talking about. They're just claiming they are, but they don't have much. It's a belief system still. You know what I mean? A belief system in one system, it believes in casting footprints. And the other one, it's the magicals, the woo-woo side of it, right? It's the interdimensional spirit things, right? That's where I get caught in the middle of this thing, because I know there's something out there that seems like spirits that I'm filming in. But to the same token, it's also the flesh and blood stuff ain't working out either. So, but this is religion too, right? For a great example, the Hegelian dialectic, there's the Protestant Reformation and the Counter Reformation, right? Guess who conjured up both sides of those things? The same buddies and guys who are going to school together anyways. Why did they use that? Well, because you know what? By the time it was the spread of, the empire to the Americas, people were sick of Catholicism. They are so sick of all the corruption, the abuse, extortion. Hell, and if you didn't go along with it, guess what happened to you? There's a good chance you weren't going to live. You were going to even breathe take another breath of air. If you were lucky and you had influence, they'd just take away your property, throw you out on the street, right? You're gonna go along with the program, or else, buddy. There's too much money to be made all around. You know what I mean? From the very top to the humble tax collector, or we call them pastors today, whatever the hell it is. But and their real job in pastoring is to see how much money they get. We just did that one TV evangelical multimillionaire bragging about it in people's faces, and it's no shame, no problem about it. Literally, nothing wrong with it at all. Meanwhile, if he drives past people who they're homeless and people, he knows I'm sure he's running, and he just snubs his nose and says, "Oh," because it's one of the funny things that happens to us too, right? Is financially, whenever you have a lot of money, something changes in you. It happens to all of us, right? You start being very guarded about your money because you realize, well, holy shit, I got something. And I'll be damned, everybody around is going to be asking for some of that, right? And so it psychologically changes you. You start thinking differently. You start thinking you're better than the person who's not, the blue collar worker, the person that works 2 or 3 jobs, the person that can't work 2 or 3 jobs, right? You say, there's no way, I earned my money. The hell with you, right? And he probably did. But that money changes us, and that's part of the magic too. That thing we call money. Oh my God! I mean, that's dollar bills, those coins, those numbers on a piece of paper or in a computer screen. I mean, it changes everything about us. Just like this egregore thing, this believing in Jesus, right? Next thing you know, your first year, oh, I'm saved, and there's something came over me and all this. And the next thing you know, you're thinking you're better than everybody else. Literally. Oh, you say now, what's up? You back?
That's where Christianity has taken that wrong turn. Is these people somehow believe that not only are they air fingers quote saved, right? They don't even know what they're saved from, but they're saved, right? Because that's just what everybody says. But not only are they saved, Jesus talks to them. That's the part that gets me, right? And I always challenge them, and because I think if I posed a question and I said, would a righteous God speak to you or a suffering child? Who would a righteous God speak to, right? I think the great majority of sane, free-thinking human beings would say, well, of course, the suffering child. Well, we don't have suffering children that talk to Jesus, but we have a whole bunch of addicts that talk to Jesus. We have a whole bunch of people that claim that they're ill that talk to Jesus. Hell, we have people that don't understand the Bible that Jesus
Talk to
talked to
Jesus.
them.
I know.
Yeah.
And why is
And
it,
I'm like,
why is it, Eddie, that once you understand the Bible, Jesus stops talking to you?
it's crazy, man. It's one of these things where I sit back and I'm like, all right, so Jesus talked to you, and what was the message? Well, he's coming soon. Ah, shit, here we go again. You know, like there can't be any like profound message, right? Like, no, it's just, well, he's coming soon. Ah, shit. Well, we've been hearing that for decades now, or centuries, actually. You know, the
Yeah.
children seem to bother the Christians. The children, what is being done to the children, whenever you're engaged in dialogue or discord with a Christian and you bring up the children, it bothers them. It really bothers them. Um, Almost to the point to where I've actually been told not to talk about it because it makes them look bad. It makes Jesus look bad. Well, shit, no shit, right? I mean, if you're the King of Kings, you're the Lord of Lords, you're the Alpha, the Omega, the whatever, and children are being abused by people, by your disciples in your name, in your house. Well, who the hell else do I blame but you? This is an all-knowing Jesus on top of it. So he knew that was going to happen before it happened, and he was cool with it.
That's right. He's all knowing, right? He's cool with it, right?
This that video that you played about from Jesse Duplantis, this guy is literally telling people, hey, the reason we're holding Jesus back because I'm a multimillionaire, but I need to be a multi-billionaire in order for Jesus. So this guy knows Jesus' itinerary, right? And it involves money. Jesus needs all this money. And he says it, clearly says it, that the Lord is waiting for all the people that were called to give a certain amount. And I'm thinking to myself, you really have to be gone. You really have to be gone to believe this nonsense. I mean, you have to be at the point of no return. And guess
I
and
shouldn't
guess
laugh
what?
because that's my mom.
Yeah.
That's my mom was that person, and then she was she's a bit crazy. She's that shit. She was a good person, but you know what I mean. She's under well, I think the problem is, Eddie, that we're all under such immense amount of what do they call that? It's not trauma. What do they call that? Anyways, but it is trauma. It's constant 24/7 trauma from the time you're born until you die. And part of that trauma is all the lies and all the shit you see going on and all the expectations they put on you, and that you got to, you got to be a Christian. You got to follow Jesus. You got to give him the money. You know what I mean? And you got to pretend to be there's something that you aren't, and that the situation that you're in isn't what it actually is.
Oh, yeah.
It's caused you to be just live a lie, isn't it? It's just become a liar.
Well, I mean, I always see the problem with me is where they run into a wall is I'm a truck driver. You see, I'm an over the road truck driver, so I outdo Jesus every week.
Well,
And
it turns out just about anybody. Once you finally realize, Eddie, I mean, yeah, you outdo them like a gazillion times, but the average person just going to the grocery store does more than Jesus ever does.
correct. Hell, the DoorDash guy, whoever's bringing your food, DoorDasher, that person's outdoing Jesus by a lot.
Literally and figuratively speaking.
Yeah, and nobody seems to see it. And they always quote that verse. A fool says that there's no God or whatever, and I'm like, no, the fool has been spoiled by the American truck driver and believes that God is feeding them. But I promise all these people that if we decided not to turn our wheels for 2 days, you'd be begging us to get going because Jesus ain't showing up.
Or you start praying to Jesus and you're going to starve.
Yeah. I mean,
like everyone else did before you.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, right, that Jesus doesn't show up. I mean, every day we have those gatherings that start out something like this. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here because fucking Jesus didn't show up. So we're going to plant another one,
That's more. There's more truth in that statement that people can imagine. Jesus didn't fucking show up. Ladies and gentlemen, a little secret. Jesus said he's going to show up in his generation. And since then, how many hours, how many minutes, how many days, how many years, and we're still waiting for that son of a gun to show up or whatever. Show up for the first time. God who knows what. But apparently Jesus doesn't know how to tell time.
Well, I mean, they always quote that the Peter, right? Years is 1,000 days, or 1,000 years. 1 year is 1,000 years, or 1 day. This is 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And I always go to 1 Peter 1:1. If that was for you, why did Peter specifically address that to the aliens that were in Berthnia, Cappadocia, where those three places. Why did he specifically mention those three places if he was talking about us today? This is the problem. This is where Christianity, I mean, they run into a major wall. And this is where the pastors use seminary, right? Because seminary is nothing more than the school of lies. They teach you how to,
It's true.
they teach you how to deceive the people, right? I mean, you look at the
True.
planets, look at all this for tag, John Hagee, actually, I was, when you were talking, when Jesse the Planets was on, I was cat a corner. I was looking right at Cornerstone Church, San Antonio, Texas, John Hagee, you know, and I'm thinking, well, here's another one right here,
I
these Texas boys. But they all know, only today, only Christians know what the Bible means, right? Nobody else. I'm a fool, right? I'm a fool because I read Matthew 23:36 that says, all things will be required of this generation. So I'm a fool.
right.
You know, I'm a fool when I read Acts 2:14 and on, and Peter's saying, "Hey, men of Judea and Jerusalem, for these men are not drunk, being it's the third hour. What you're witnessing here in front of you is that the prophet Joel spoke of, that in the last days. But allegedly, we're in the last. So I don't even last days prophecies were in the Bible because there was only one, and Peter said they were in the last days, but apparently John Hagee is correct. It's not like he's hasn't been incorrect before. Four Blood Moons, that book.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right. That's right.
it's ridiculous. This whole thing is ridiculous.
And the money still keeps pouring in, bro.
That's the people. That's the people. That's the people that you speak of, and I speak of, and Jeff, and all of us that are doing, the righteous spiritual work. The ones that care about our brothers, and we're looking at our brothers and sisters saying, "My God, there's no way you can be this dumb.
Hey, John P.
No way."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so it's just so this egregore, this thing called Jesus. I mean, the power is shocking. It's all, talk about the trickster spirit of trickster spirits, right? I mean, to be able to fool billions of people. Well, then again, then there's Allah too. So I guess it doesn't matter. That's he's might actually outdone him, but whatever. It's still the same old situation that we're in, right? I mean, this whole thing about people living in a delusion, in a lie, in fantasy.
Well, if you think about it,
Go ahead.
you mentioned a lot, right? I have a lot of Muslim brothers out here on the road, right, and truck drivers, and not one out of the hundreds that I see every week, not one has ever come up to me and said, "Hey, man, can I talk to you about Islam?" Not one, never. But the Christians are constantly telling people, "Hey, you need to get saved." And I always ask the question, from what? What are we getting saved from? What is it? The microwave? What is it?
You're gonna go to hell, Eddie. You're gonna go to hell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we're
You're gonna go to
going
hell. I mean, geez, this God loves us so much that he puts us all in this delusional state and then tells us we're going to go to hell if we don't believe in something that supposedly happened 2,000 years ago.
Correct. And think about it. There's this pastor, and I have a video on my Holyrollah425 TikTok account. It's pinned. This pastor said, "You're blaming me." No, he said, yeah, he said, "You're blaming me for what somebody else did. That is the common sign of a narcissist." And I'm like, well, then you're a narcissist. Yahweh's a narcissist. And so is, because you are blaming us for what Adam and Eve did. He burned himself. He literally burned himself. I never heard back from that pastor again. He said, if you blame somebody for what somebody else, you're a narcissist. That's what he said. Well, that's exactly what the Christian church does. They blame everybody else for what Adam and Eve did. So according to that pastor, it's narcissism.
Well, you know, a narcissism says here, here. So it's anybody else that might see this. A narcissism is a personality style that involves being overly preoccupied with oneself and one's own needs.
Oh yeah.
So, what's the average person that would end up falling into the snare or trap called Christianity be focused on? Themselves and one's own needs. And so, I think that what it does is it ensnares narcissists. It's a very narcissistic religion, right? A very selfish one. And then it holds on to that. And then you see the ultimate, the bigger the narcissist, they're the ones most likely to be the John Hagee world or the Pope. You know what I mean? They're going to be, they're so self-absorbed that they just cannot see it. They don't care about anybody else. So then it just says something about the actual, because they don't change. They don't get better. Their narcissism doesn't get better. It gets worse.
Correct.
And the worse you are with that narcissism, the more you, the higher you go. Now, this is no different than the corporate world, I understand, in other areas of life. But, you know, this is supposed to be, you know, Christianity. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be following the way, the truth, and life. And supposed to become better people, not worse people.
Yeah,
But
that's a problem right there, right? I mean, that's the problem is that when these people get into this cult known as Christianity, they become self-condemning, right? They start condemning themselves, right? And then they start condemning others. They start talking about sin, which clearly in the Bible, sin is transgression of the law. We're not under any law. We were never under any law. Hell, the people that proclaim that they're under the law cannot fulfill the law, you know, so they're deceiving themselves. This is all hogwash. Like it's a lie. It's not. It's fraudulent. It's a fallacy.
it's
It's
black
not
magic.
real.
It's black
Yeah.
magic. It's black magic is what it is. I keep saying that. I mean, that's exactly what a black magician would do to you. That's the
Well,
whole purpose of doing it.
you know what's funny is I've been caught up in I believe it's Acts 12, the son of Jesus, Elymas, right?
Uh-huh.
Talks about supposedly he's a sorcerer. Paul actually is going to talk to some surgeoness or something about God and Elymas, then Jesus. So according to my research, that is the son of Jesus.
Okay.
So then Jesus tries to stop surgeoness from listening to Paul about God. Well, coincidentally enough, in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3, 4, Paul talks about two spirits of Jesus. And I'm like, wait a minute. So if Jesus' own son is being degraded in the Bible as a sorcerer, and he was telling this governor's Sergilus not to listen to Paul, and Paul was telling the Corinthians, hey, if you don't have the
Go, Tony.
Jesus that
Tony's it's in the chat, by the way. So,
oh Tony
for truth.
Tony lacks truth. That one, okay.
Yes, right.
Um,
Called
I'm
us
sorry, Tony for
rookies.
Tony for truth. Sorry, I got confused.
What's up? He says. So go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
No, that's right. So actually, Tony's the one that taught me this. I'm glad he's here so he can hear me give him credit. So Tony is the one that actually pointed this out about 2 Corinthians 11, verse 4, where Paul is clearly talking about two Jesuses and two different spirits. And I find that ironic that in Acts, Elymas is listed as a sorcerer who stands against the teachings of Paul. I'm still working on that and researching it, but I think I have something there.
I think so. When you look at also what Paul taught and what actually Jesus taught, they are diametrically opposed. And Jesus did warn us about what the what are they called again? The Pharisees, yeah.
Yeah, the Pharisees.
So, and then there we are, the Pharisee shows up and gives a different version of it, right? Supposedly, if he was a Pharisee, or for some reason I said virgin because you know what? But you keep bringing up this whole thing about Jesus having a son. Weren't we told this whole time that he's supposed to have been a virgin?
Yeah, well, I mean yeah, well, I think that's Catholicism kind of got caught up into that, and we all know how that worked out. You know, so this whole thing is so ridiculous that I don't know why there's one person worshiping this or being part of this Christian cult, much less 2.48 billion worldwide.
Well, I think it's the system. This is where the matrix comes in, dude. This matrix is designed to force you into one of these religions, or to be something, or to go, become an atheist or whatever. But it's that's why they emphasize constantly religious freedom. No other types of freedom. No freedom, that's how about like freedom from the government? No, that's not that. Or you know what I mean? But religious freedom, you know what? Yeah, you know what I mean? That's the gift we're going to give you. You can believe anything you want to believe as long as it's not the truth. As long as you don't say anything about what's really going on, we're good to go. There's a place for you in the matrix.
Well, I think what the whole reason for this religion, because I started following the current sects, sects sects of Christianity, and guess what I'm finding? What I'm finding is there was people coming in from England right after the King James Bible was released. Coincidentally enough, they were migrating over here, and they were starting their own sects of Christianity, Methodist, Baptist, and they were all coming from England. What a coincidence, right? So the churches of today have zero linkage to Jesus. You cannot you can't go they go back to about the 17th century. That is 16 centuries removed from Jesus, right? So how the hell in the Council of Nicaea they were trying to figure out in 325 AD they were trying to figure out who Jesus was and when the hell they should celebrate Easter, right? Because that was important. So 2 centuries after Jesus walked this earth, there was a council that didn't even know who the hell Jesus was. That makes no sense. 14 centuries later, now these guys after King James got the Bible straight, now they know who Jesus is, and they thus started the Jehovah's Witness, the Mormons, and all these different sects of Christianity. So don't you see the problem there? They didn't know in the 4th century, but they had it all figured out in the 17th.
Yes, it's amazing what time does for you.
Yeah, right. I guess that old cliche. It's ridiculous. The first people, the people closest to Jesus, had no earthly idea who this dude was. I mean, look at the Gospel of John. The very last verse in the Gospel of John says, we didn't even write everything that this guy did. If we did it, take all the books of the world. And I'm like, so how the hell are we preaching the gospel today? How are we preaching the gospel today if we don't even This doesn't even make. This is so mess. It's
well,
messed up.
so there's this thing that through time and generations. So we are born in this world with amnesia to begin with, right? And it seems like collectively too, we forget about what happened. It's like it's this is how easy it is to be manipulated, right? You can take a child from his parents and his family, put him in another part of the world, and within they will not know. They might have just a faint memory of any of it, right? But the next generation, there's no memory at all. Think what I'm saying there. Think about that. So it's like this is what you do, right? When you're spreading your empire to the west, right? So there's promise of escaping from Catholicism, right? And all these people were coming to the Americas for a new opportunity, new way of life, maybe a hope. You know what I mean? Because it's extremely impressive. Uh, Back then, it still is, by the way, but in Europe, it was just terribly impressive, right? I mean, they were literally, England had a tax that taxed you on air, literally air. There was a tax on air. So this is how bad it was there, right? So, and they're watching who are the people that are living good and high on the hog, figuratively speaking, and it was the priestcraft, and it was those associated with it. And they're like, well, shit, I'll start my own religion. It makes all the sense to me why they would do it, right? Initially. And then, what? They use these new religions, like the Mormons.
I think it was a.
What's that? What were we going to
Well, I
say,
think
Eddie?
it was a power grab. I think it was a power grab.
Individually or collectively or for the England?
No, I think it was an individual power grab. I think when Joseph Smith said, "You know what? The heck with you all. I'm going to go form my own religion." I
Absolutely.
think it was
But then
all.
what happened was when it ended up in Nauvoo, Illinois, and then you know what? Now the Jesuits got involved in this. And they encouraged them. And they encouraged them and said, you know what? We're going to give you money, finances, and all that, because they're having a problem, Eddie. And that was nobody wanted to go out west. Why is that? Well, they heard all about the Indian Wars, and they already heard about how hard it was out west, the plains and the west and the mountains and all that. And they had their communities here on the eastern portion, the eastern side of the Mississippi. They had to find some way to get people to migrate out west in greater numbers. They focused on the Mormon Church because they saw how the dynamics. Here's a guy who made up a whole new, literally plagiarized chapters and verses and everything out of the Old New Testament, and then created this whole story of places and names of towns in the Burnt-Over district of northern New York, the city of New York, or not city, the state of New York. And they're like, wow, if they can make these and get all these people to do this stuff, and the dude even has more wives. I wonder what they could do if by using that as because people didn't want to serve Rome for this, right? They didn't want the Roman Catholic Church wasn't going to motivate them to go out there, right? And you need to have something to glue the people together, you see, because if it's all just about me just getting my own, well, you know how that is. After a while, everyone splits up, and that ain't gonna last very long, right? You know what I mean? So they needed a religion. So they chose, perfect religion would be Mormonism, and it was, and it helped settle the West. If it wasn't for Mormonism, nobody would hell. I wonder how much longer it would have taken to get people to move into Utah, Arizona, Nevada. Who the hell wants to live in Nevada? But those Mormons did. They did because they were totally convinced and brainwashed that was New Jerusalem. Did you know that? That's New Jerusalem.
Yeah, well, there's people right now that Jerusalem. I've lost track. We've almost covered the entire globe, and everybody. It's like the Antichrist. It seems like every year we have a different Antichrist. It's like nobody. the message is so convoluted, it's so weak, it's so done, you know. But for some reason, they
But
got Christians filling up churches.
well, that's because it goes back to how they set up this matrix. You know, people, this, you know, this place is a tough place. We know that, right? I mean, you've been around the block. We've both together over 100 years of experience living here, right? It's not an easy place. There's a lot of hardship and pain, and people come out of the public school system not having a clue who they are. Skills, what skills? I mean, you know what I mean? And so, you know, so they're just set up for failure after failure after failure. And then after a failed relationship and everything else, you know, a lot of them go to the church because there's nowhere to go, or then it's indoctrination, right? You know, people do, they do the most logical thing. They compare the world and say, you know, well, it's really shitty out there. Maybe there is some hope. Maybe there's some substitute Jesus and all that, right? But they don't really put the time, because what that means is, Eddie, they're going to end up like you and I,
Correct.
and they don't want to deal with that. They'd rather live in the lie. This is the reason why it's been lasting for thousands of years. I mean, and just think about the Romans and the Greeks. They took the worst of everything that they ever found and incorporated it into their state religion, right? It's worse for the average person, that is, right? It was perfect for them to stay on top of things. But for the rest of us, whew, I mean, why do you think they took out our ancestors? You know, the ones that talked about spirits and all that, and ancestral spirits and all that, they all got wiped out, didn't they? And
Well, not only, yeah, them, and then I mean, look what happened in Salem. And guess what? Whose name was it all done under?
the holy Jesus, holy bejesus,
Yep, yep.
or Yahweh, depending on it, or it could have been Jehovah. You know what I mean? It all depends on who you are, right? Because some of them don't actually, you know, they recognize Jesus, but they don't call him Jesus. Remember, they call him Yahweh or Jehovah. So,
But it's at the end of the day, it's the same spirit, right?
absolutely,
And, and it's dark. We've clearly proven it's what it's capable of. I mean, everybody has seen it, you know, and nobody cares. I mean, it's hurting children left and right. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
no, they don't. Or if they do, all they do is just bitch about it. Bitch, you know,
Right.
about the church, and they'll just given the opportunity, but no one actually does anything in the church, and for that matter, outside the church, for that much. It seems like everyone's afraid of that thing called church, religion. In the end of the day,
Well, think about this.
go ahead.
Think-
Yeah,
Let me expand a little bit on that. So, why do they hurt? Why do they fear? Right. So if I'm hurting, right, and I'm about to lose my wife because I cheated with the chick at the office.
or what we just heard earlier. You know, the teenager, the teenage girl.
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody's
yeah,
cheating. All right.
yeah. And so I go to my pastor, right, and I start confessing everything. Well, how the hell can I leave that church? This student now knows what I did, and now he knows my wife. You know, why would I leave the church? I can't leave now. You know, so they kind of got you right because you're in a position to where they know your secrets, your innermost secrets.
That's right. The confession booth, the same thing, just like in an organized crime, man.
Yep,
That's what it
yep,
is, man. They know
and
your
and
secret.
correct. And I'm not here to bash Christians, although I will if if you want to start, talking about how I'm lost, and I'm not lost because I feed Christians. So I end up like tomorrow when I take off, I know I have to go from far Texas to Louisville, Texas. Saturday, drop in Hook. I drop the trailer I got loaded. I pick up another loaded one, and I'm going all the way to Long Island, New York, in that area.
That's right.
So I'm not the one that's lost. Places that I'm going to.
You can't
The problem
literally and
is that
figuratively afford to
there's
be lost. You're a truck driver. One,
correct,
one group of people that can't
exactly,
afford to be lost.
correct. And these people are so indoctrinated by, the these these masters that they have, which are called pastors. I mean, I heard Jesse Duplantis say, "My wife needs a jet," right? And the congregation was like, kind of discussing it amongst himself, and he's like, "Hey, don't you do that? Every one of you has a his and her car, right?" And I'm like, "This son of a gun," you know. I mean, a his and her car is different,
What's amazing that
but
it works on an adult mind that way, which just says how many of those people suffer from extended adolescence to begin with. That's the reason why they're there. You know what I mean? You never grew up. You always say about a Christian man doesn't have any balls. I mean, you know what I mean? Maybe it's because of the extended adolescence through school and the jobs and then religion. It just and the way the whole place is set up. I mean, how many of us are ever going to go venture? How many of us are ever going to be anything like our grandparents? Even have the opportunity. You know what I mean? Of homesteading, of breaking ground, of building their own home. About you know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of the manly things that constitute being part of manhood have been slowly taken away from us. Don't you notice that? Do you notice that? Have you noticed that at all? I have noticed it. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that people. I'm just saying that for the most part, I mean, most men they live like, well, they don't live like men. Hello, Eddie. He must have dropped off or just got decided to go somewhere else. I didn't notice that about Eddie. I started talking, he goes and moves on. Just does something. So, yeah, I mean, when you think about it, in grown men, you know, this whole system, you see, it's very predacious, the matrix that it is. So, in
hello.
order for, yeah, you back? What
Yeah,
happened?
it was a service thing.
Okay. Yeah, so you missed out what I was talking about. So,
No, I heard you.
you're probably better off.
No, I was responding. I was responding, but I guess there was a connection issue.
Okay, what were you saying? Let's go back.
No,
Let's
I
hear what
was
you had to
saying
say.
I was saying that the average Christian churchgoer, the male, I don't call them men, especially the pastors. I don't. Those are the I will never call them men. I'll call them males. And they don't. Their household. I mean, how many of them, right? These tough guy Christian pastors. I am convinced that they started fooling, like John Hagee started fooling around with Laura, his current wife, and she coerced him into leaving his wife and marrying her. I am convinced that that's how Greg Locke did it, and all these pastors that have met their current wives in the congregation. I am convinced that that's how it happened. They were coerced because they had already began a relationship with them. What the hell are they going to say? They're with their careers. If the truth came out, their careers are done.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I have no respect for the Christian male. Just think about this, okay? I mean, this is how ridiculous this is. Okay, the Christian males are literally waiting for Jesus, their future husband, to come and marry them. Paul writes to the Corinthians in 2 Corinthians 11, verse 2, and says that he's going to present them as chastest virgins. Why would anyone want to go on that honeymoon with Jesus? If Paul is saying that you must be a virgin. Right now, I know that we can get into allegorical and all this stuff, all this other nonsense, but the Old Testament, I mean, look at David. He was wearing a belt of foreskins, for crying out loud. It was supposed to be 100, and he's like, "No, I want to handle more. It's going to be 200." I mean, he had to handle the, you know what, to cut the foreskin off. These dudes are, you know what I mean? How else did he get? How did he get the foreskin?
Pretty sick when you think about it. Really, when you think about how sick it is, it's really sick. Oh my God!
It's very perverted.
And,
So I mean,
and Jesus has his obsessions with virgins and say allegorical, but is it? Even in the Old Testament, there's an obsession with virgins.
correct. Yahweh was obsessed with virgins. And
It's a form of human sacrifice, is what it is.
I mean, I agree. A blood covenant, right? I mean, this is ridiculous, man. This is why any Christian male would say, "Well, I can't wait to marry Jesus." I mean, that doesn't even sound right. You know what I mean? Like that sounds so out there. But they're taught they're taught this. The pastors, the greatest deceivers that have ever roamed this world, they teach this as a good thing, right? And it's like the rapture. They teach it as a good thing. They can't even get the rapture right. There's pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib. So there's 3 different beliefs just on rapture alone in Christianity.
Right.
How can this be the infallible word of God and we're this confused? It makes no sense.
And of course, then Jesus promised that there would be unity. It would be something that they'd be unified in the truth. And the furthest thing that's happened to Christians, right? There's 45 to 48,000, depending what number you want, of Christian sects in the world. And we're not even talking about the sex with the X at the end of it. You'll find a lot of that in those churches too, and we just heard about that in the beginning of the show, in which these priests and pastors get away over and over again with violating our children. It's not just the priest. And what about this Sam's insurance? What's going on there?
Well, I mean, think about that. Just think about that. So in the house of Jesus, we need a protection for the church, for Jesus's house, from SA. Like, what? I mean, the fact that people know this, Christians know this, and they're still walking into those demon halls is beyond. I can no longer comprehend this. You're literally taking your children into these, Luciferian, S-holes that carry protection from SA. They have an SA policy with an insurance company. Are you kidding me?
So we can.
No
I think we could say that word, that sexual assault.
Yeah.
YouTube, you can say it. I know in TikTok,
Yeah, I just don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to.
So that's what they have insurance, and that insurance, folks, is for the church and for the the power structure within that church. That if they ever get caught, violating one of our children or someone else that or somebody care about, well, they have insurance to protect them, to cover the cost, the legal costs. Isn't that amazing? And settlement. It's even worse, Eddie.
In the house of Jesus.
I know, but it's all about that money. That's why that the people are starting to understand what that all-seeing eye is on the top of that pyramid and the back of your dollar bill.
I mean, this is so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous.
You're propping up them. See, they're all-seeing eye, pretending to be God, pretending to represent God, right? And communion with God. That all-seeing eye in the triangle you'll find it in Jesuit cathedrals throughout all of Europe. All right?
Yep.
And that's the thing, why is that? Because I know it bothers people to hear this, but surely it's not the old Roman Empire that everyone's thinking about from 2,000 years ago, but we live in a new version of it because it's always been the same game plan. Always. Nothing's changed. Until when people understand that, then you understand why all this craziness is happening, because you are serving the most powerful, largest monarchy in the world. You and I. People say, well, then what about the Brits and all that? Well, yeah, they're still not the largest. They're subservient to that thing they call the Vatican.
Yep.
And so nobody's, and so then the Christians, they think, oh, the Protestants, we're not the same thing as them. We're different than them. And they argue about this, stupidest things because they got nothing else, right? I see the same thing happening in the Bigfoot community. The cult of Bigfootery is what I call it. It's the religion of Bigfoot, right? I see it happen right before my eyes because of all things I studied. I see the exact same thing happening there. I know that's not what we're talking about today, but the point is that they use this religious systems to control us. So, and what it is all about is so that they can steer us and they can get as much out of us so that they don't have to drive a truck all day or work in the fields, or, they don't have to actually work for a living. You know what I mean? And we're talking about the oligarchs, right? So, that's what they've been doing all along. Just using that as a system to control us. And people recognize that, but how much do you really recognize that? Because how much do you really recognize how much control that book and that religion has over you? Because I hate to tell you, if you really look into it, you'll be shocked at how much, even if you call yourself an atheist, that those institutions are controlling you.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, and it is control. Make no mistake about it. It's control. You know how I know it's control and how I can prove it? When a little one comes up and reports something, they ignore it and they cover it up. That's how much the Christian church, loves and protects our children. I've spoken to many people who are now adults, some of them sons of pastors, who were crying out to the church. And guess what? They were just told to pretty much suck it up and remain silent. Is that the way, the truth, and the life? Is that how that works?
Yes, Eddie, that's exactly how it works.
Yeah,
that's the problem. That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
For you and I, we find that, evil, irrepressible. But the problem is that, apparently we still have some morals, some sort, or at least we have some awareness, or we have some kind of moral compass for us to see this stuff and instead of putting a blinder on, saying, wait a minute, I don't want to be part of it. This is not me. So this just goes back to what this whole thing is, this whole institution. That's, we said, you and I both agreed numerous times that Satanism and Christianity are just two sides of the same coin.
Well, every ism is, right. Well, whatever this is why I stand against people that, come and tell me that science is absolute. No, actually it's not. I don't believe in science either, because for every PhD that says one thing, I can find another that says quite the opposite. Right? So we have problems. See, in this country, we've been labeled as having a hate problem. We don't have a hate problem. We have a truth problem. We cannot be honest.
We're not allowed to be, right?
We can't, because money controls our mouths and our tongues. Right? So if I'm a prestigious, doctor of whatever, and some, investor wants to make money off of me, well, they're going to shoot a few million at my way, but I have to say the script, right?
All right.
I have to believe now what they tell me to believe, and I have to say what they tell me to say, and that's what's happened. We are now we're reaping the end result of that, and that's exactly what happened with the Jesus movement in the 70s. The what is it called? The Satan. What was it? The Satan scare in the 80s.
Oh,
Whatever it was.
Satanic Panic or whatever the hell.
Yeah, Satanic Panic. Yeah, I knew there was a rhyme. So, and they brought all these evangelists out, and all it was to what? Bear what fruit? It was a money tree. That's all it was. Nothing happened. We didn't get any more righteous. We actually became more corrupt under Jesus. Shocking, right? We as a country became more corrupt, more adulterous, more disrespectful, more everything under Jesus.
And it
Makes no
seems to be,
sense. It makes zero sense.
unless we're dealing with an evil spirit, an evil egregore, or some kind of black magic in which calling upon that thing diminishes one's power. It takes away from one's own
Well, how could
individual
we
authority.
correct? How can we deny that it's not? If I tell you, Mike, it's okay. I know you know. Well, these there's dark spirit of Jesus. To them, it's okay. To
You're
them,
roboting, Eddie. You're roboting
we
on us,
forward.
Eddie. You're sounding like a robot on us. You're tweaking out on us. The phone,
Am I
doing the old
back?
robot. Yeah, let's try it. Let's see. Let's try it out, man. Let's hear what you got to say.
Am I back?
Now, I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Am I back?
Yeah, you seem to be back. Try it to see what happens now.
Test, test. Am I good?
Addie, hang up the phone again and drop out and try to come back in. Eddie, I don't know if he's there.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Are you on mute?
No, I'm not on mute.
Well, something was because, or not mute. Whatever was going on with your headset or whatever. I mean, I was talking. You said you couldn't hear me, so there was no response. Let's put it that way. So, anyways, we were talking about stuff, and then you went robot on us, and then you couldn't hear me. So now you can hear me. So what were you saying?
Am I? It's a service issue. Am I connected? Am I?
Yeah,
Am I
as
good?
long as you sound good.
All right. No, what I was saying is, if I asked you, Mike, is it okay to hurt children? What would your response be?
Hell no.
Exactly. Any sane human being would say no. Christian says, well, is it going to affect the church? If it's going to affect the pastor of the church, Jesus, then we're going to have to put the child aside because we got to press forward with Jesus. We got to peddle the lie. You see what I mean?
Right, because yeah, I understand completely. Yeah, it's disgusting, is what it is, and it just goes to show you how absolutely evil that actually is, the whole thing. So, let's see, Eddie. We've been doing this for an hour and a half. If you want to keep doing it, we can, but I need to take a break. I'm going to play some music. It's up to you. Would you like to
take a break, play some music? I got
to pee, man, and then I got a cigarette. So it's going to take we'll play some music, then we'll play a couple videos, and we'll get back to Eddie. And then that tweaking, that robot stuff came back. So I don't know what's going on. If you're walking around or if it's location thing, just let you know. So sometimes
it's a location thing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
But it's
Yeah,
like,
go ahead and do that. And yeah, go ahead and do that. I should have better service by the time we get back on.
All right, bro. Let's see. What should we play? I want to play some a drama.
More people come to the truth, which is Christianity is clearly fraudulent, not real, deception. Um, there's one thing that I want to make sure that we all understand is when a Christian tries to bring you into salvation, they're actually bringing you into darkness. Let me prove this to you. This is why you should always match the energy of a Christian. Whatever energy they come with, you match it. Because Christians are beneath us. The non-believer is the righteous one. Anyone who stands against this devil Jesus is the righteous one, the one going down the narrow path. Many would be fooled that if possible, even the very elect. That's what Christianity is. They've been fooled. This is why they always pay very close attention to me. Christians always identify a demon but never cast it out, because a devil cannot cast itself out. They are legions. They are many. They are Christians. Don't ever let a Christian disrespect you in any manner. You respond accordingly, and you match their energy. These are demons, folks. They're demonic people. Their churches have SAM insurance. Look at what that means. And they're still bringing their children to those demonic places. Do not allow them to get away with what they've done and what they continue to do. Stand firmly on your faith, whatever it is. Whether you're an atheist or you're agnostic, where just me, you know that there's a God out there somewhere, but he's not written of. Definitely not in the Bible. Do not allow a Christian to bring darkness into your life. Because this devil that they worship, that they call Jesus, with billions of souls that it's captured, it has authority. And you can choose not to believe me, but I promise you, there's things that will happen in your life, and you're thinking it's because you're not following the devil Jesus, when in reality, they're doing it to try to get you to follow the devil Jesus. All is not what it seems, folks. Do not ever submit to a Christian. Ever. Under no circumstances. Remember, they never cast out demons because the demon cannot cast itself out. You remember that?
Yeah, remember that. Jeez. You back, Ed?
I'm here.
Okay, man. Yeah, I mean, this thing called Jesus, you can't cast out any demons because it is a demon. And these people are demonic, possessed. I think. I think when I was following it and believing it, I think I must have been. When I stopped following it and I got rid of that stupid book and burnt it, my life got better. You know what? I'm going to get tomorrow, case in point, I've waited forever, years and years and years to get a athletic wheelchair. Now, athletic wheelchair is one of those wheelchairs that you can exercise with, and you can, play basketball if you want with, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's one of those things you can actually, go on a trail with,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting it tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Amazingly enough, my mom, for just a little thing. So but it's not a big little thing. But so my mom's tombstone for 3 years, because when she passed away on the 13th of 2021, I've still been waiting for the date of her to be engraved on her tombstone, right?
Uh-huh.
And my sister's is hardcore, Catholic, and and then my family, Christian and all that. So, and when I was in the spell too, I was like, my gosh, what's going on here, and then I got upset with her for not doing anything about it. And so, I just made a phone call and I asked, yesterday, what's going on with my mom's tombstone? You know what I mean? And the guy called back the next day and said, "Oh, yeah, it's all paid for. We're sorry, it's our mistake. We'll make sure in 2 months to have it on." And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, this is like something that's not even something that's really that important to me, the tombstone. You know what I mean? It's just as my mom, you know what I mean? That's all. I mean, I don't care less if I get buried. But the fact of the matter is, it's like something that's really important to my sister, who's this Roman Catholic and all that. And I'm like, how can you go all those years and not do something about it?
Well, because I can answer that question. Because Christianity, Catholicism, whatever, they're all waiting for somebody else. This is why I will never call a Christian a man, because they're always waiting for somebody else to come and take care of their problems for them, right?
That's right.
They're never going to, I know there's people that believe that one day there's going to be a rising. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. The Christians will continue to go to their grave waiting for Jesus. He will never show up, just like he's never shown up, because this had nothing to do with us. If the books are true, it has nothing to do with us. I mean, it's
Right.
that simple. It's that simple. You can choose to accept it. A lot of people are confused because, well, I believe it's true, so therefore it must be true. No, that's not the way truth works, right? Just
No,
because you believe something doesn't make it truth. And just because you don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true, you know?
exactly. You got to find out. You have to do the research. You have to do the hard work, one way or
I
another.
mean, yeah, and we've already done all that. On my Discord page, there's tons of information there. All my videos. That's why today, I have a lot of fun, man. I respond to people's comments and, you know, people, they make mistakes, right? I'm so well versed and experienced now. I should say I am more versed and more experienced now that I catch them. I catch them all the time. Well, Jesus said this. I'm like, all right, show me where he said that. And they're quoting, the book of Proverbs or something. Like, no, 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 no. If Jesus said it, it should be in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. So show me when he said that. See, what happens is these people are so indoctrinated. It's like that little male, Geno Jennings, right? He's like Greg Locke. They both suffer from little male syndrome. God didn't love him enough, so he only gave him a little body and a weird voice, right? Geno Jennings has a weird voice, right? Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's always it's crazy. But these guys are constantly picking fights with their own kind. I mean, right now, Gino and Jakes. Gino's coming after Jakes, and Jakes is coming after Gino, and I'm like, and what's his name? Greg Locke. Greg Locke made a huge mistake, and I recorded, I downloaded that. It was a Facebook live. I screenshot. I don't remember, but this dude literally said that he had pictures of what Kenneth Copeland had done. And if the police ever got those pictures, Kenneth Copeland would be in jail. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, are you really this dumb? You just admitted to knowing that there was a felony committed and you didn't report it. And I don't know why this guy's still free, why he hasn't been arrested or charged. I mean, I think he already lost his 503C.
Lot,
Um,
lot has.
Locke, yeah, Greg Locke. That dude's out of control. That dude needs to meet a real one that's gonna, kind of bring him from, right now he's riding in the clouds next to the four horsemen. A real one has to step in front of him and fix him, if you know what I mean. And
Right.
hopefully one of these days somebody does. That dude's completely out of control, completely. I don't know how a Barbie dollhouse and a bat become part of your sermon, but he's done it. He's broken wooden chairs. He's broken doll houses. I mean, maybe it's part of the, he suffers from little man syndrome. So maybe because he has a little frame, of a little man, maybe 5'5", 5'6", 5'9", whatever.
Hey,
Maybe
I'm 5'9". What are you talking
oh
about?
yeah, yeah, but you, but you don't talk tough like these guys. You know what I mean?
I
These
don't have a
guys, they move mountains, Mike. These guys move mountains. You know what I mean? Like these guys are with their mouth. I mean, they do all types of stuff, and in reality, they don't do anything, man. And I started, like I said, I'm looking at these two Jesuses that I believe exist. I'm still stuck in the Bible. I'm still stuck in the Gospels. I'm studying with people, and I'm trying to figure out if they maybe just maybe the lie is with the Jesus. It's not this Jesus. Uh, Again, I always go back to the same thing. Why do Christians not care about the children that are being, you know, show me a sermon? I've asked Christians, you know what? Show me a sermon. I'll shut my mouth.
I
Show
know
me
you
one pastor.
like a riveting, really like all the horrendous things that are going on with the children throughout the world. You know what I mean? Throughout the world. Oh, I mean, just a serious riveting, and also going on with the church and the starvation, all the children in the hospitals and all these diseases. They don't want to do it because they know what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen is the finger is going to be pointed back at them at some point.
Well, see, that's what I think. I think not every, but I think most pastors have been compromised. By a concubine. I mean, if we're going to use their terminology, and I think they've been compromised, and they have to remain silent at this point. There's not. They can only do what they're told to do at this point because you know they 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 got the pictures, they got the videos, they got the text messages. I mean, that video, I got 53,000 views on that video. It was a duet. Um, but that video exposes who these people are. I mean, this guy wasn't even trying to hide it. He literally documented it on text. So you're telling me that he wasn't thinking of Jesus at that point? Nothing in his spirit, this fake Holy Spirit that all these Christians claim to have, nothing in his spirit came upon him that said, dude, you better cut this shit out because you shouldn't be doing this. Not only should you not be doing this, this chick that you're texting is a minor. Like nothing came across this guy. Why? Because these Christians literally believe that they can do whatever the hell they want, and all they got to do is repent. Right? The same message that's in the Bible, I believe it's Matthew 4, where Jesus allegedly is being tempted, right?
Right.
And the devil tells him, bow before me, and I'll give you all the kingdoms and the glory. That is exactly what Christianity preaches. You do whatever the hell you want. You're going to have the mansions. You're going to have the afterlife, eternity. You just got to believe in me. That's it. You got to bow before me. And here are the American truck drivers driving at all times of day and night, on ice, rain, through tornadoes, hailstorms, uh, everything that we go through, and nobody even knows who the truck drivers are, and those are the ones providing. How many people know my name? You know why? Because we have unconditional love. Unlike Jesus, we have unconditional love. You don't have to know who we are. We're still going to be there for you. You don't have to worship us. You don't have to do anything. And we're still going to show up doing what we always have done. But these people have brought this Jesus, this devil, this darkness into the light, right? Or at least they pretend they brought him to the light. And look at how this world is. It hasn't gotten better. It's gotten worse.
It's true. Things might be slightly a little more convenient for a few of us at this moment, but that's just an illusion. At the time as the loose gets tighter and tighter, and these people they're going to be the ones that end up going to be fighting their wars in the future here, all in the name of Jesus. Check
Well,
this.
that's another thing. I was thinking about that today, right? All these poor military personnel, right? These soldiers, these Marines, these Navy men and airmen, and um, they a lot of them, they're praising Jesus, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna make the video, right? I just came up with it while I was driving up to bring my kids up here. It just came to me, like most of my ideas do. If this Jesus that you follow is such a badass, why the hell is he sending you to fight his wars? Why doesn't he come and annihilate everybody like he pretends he can do? At least he claims it, right? Why is he using men? I mean, we got millions of men that have fought wars. Why? If this Jesus is such a badass, that makes no sense to me. Makes
Well,
zero sense to me.
well, unless it's required for these archonic forces, these beings around us, that there is the need for human sacrifice, and this
Correct.
and so they need people to be delusional enough to actually do it. You
Correct.
know what I mean? And so if you look at a lot of the atrocities, well, the understatement, are in the name of Jesus, so that have happened in this world. So I'm not saying not all of them, obviously, but then again, I don't know. If you really look at the Hegelian dialectic and stuff, like even like the communism and all that kind of stuff, what happened to that? I mean, there was so much the forces from the West, the church itself, to the monarchies and the power brokers of Britain and England, Britain and Vatican and etc. That they wanted communism to fail. You know what I mean? So they really went out of the way and put some of their own vermin in there to make sure that all the atrocities would happen. And I really do believe when you look at all the different major religions, these imperial cults, every across the board, there's not a single one that I can find that human sacrifice was not part of it.
Correct.
So I think that they still practicing it. I think that's what it's all about. I mean, the reward for, say, those people that are part of maybe the military industrial complex and etc. is some money and a bigger house and all that. But the ultimate end of the day, the people at the very top, they still believe in this thing called human sacrifice. They feel that that's absolutely necessary to maintain power. And in a way it is. If it's nothing more than just socially disruptive, more trauma-based mind control and manipulation of the populace, do you know what I mean? That in itself is a form of sorcery, whether there's a spirits involved in it or not. But my hunch is that there is something that we call a spirit, something on the other side, something that's paying attention to us that thirsts for that. I honestly think the only reason we're here is pain, just pain and suffering, is to produce illusion. As they call it, Bob Monroe says, to feed the archonic forces and this other thing, this egregore, this demiurge, this kind of overriding spirit or power that it needs. And you ever notice that all the advancement happened after major bloodshed, war, chaos, and new technologies developed? Why can't it happen without it?
Yeah.
Just think about it. I mean, so when you think of these are the same
Well, I
people.
mean, what do you do, Mike, when you're what I mean, what do you do when you're caught up in this deception? I mean, you can't let the cat out of the bag because they'll out you, right?
That's
So
right.
you're kind of in between a hard place and a rock. What do? You go along, right?
Or you do what we
So
do. You do what we do,
yeah,
and you just. But maybe it was easier. I don't know. I always was the black sheep of the family, the outcast. I wasn't a bad kid or anything. It just always was. You know what I mean? And so, in a lot of ways, and I never felt like I ever belonged anyway since a child. I was talking about maybe you weren't here, maybe you did. In the beginning of the show about when, like, I feel like I'm going full circle. When I was a little kid, I recognized this was all bullshit.
yeah.
Yet I got sucked up in it. All right. And now I'm going back full circle and saying, you know what? Yeah, this really is all fucking bullshit. What we're living, this fictional life that's been offered up to us is bullshit.
Well, they knew. I think whoever put us here, fooled us here, whatever. I think they knew that we would never love each other. The only way to stop all this is ultimate love. Because if there's if there's true agape love, then there's truth, right?
All right.
You're never gonna hurt anybody. You're gonna be honest. If you took something, you're gonna tell them, "I took it. Here it is. It's back," or what have you. That true love can only exist where honesty exists. Without honesty, you can't love.
This is true.
And yep. And right now we're living in, we're fooling ourselves. I mean, how many times do we talk about, my weird stuff, about monogamy, right? And some people laugh at me, and guess what? Then they're DMing me, telling me, you know what, Eddie, you're right. You're right. I can't do it. It's true. You can't do it. Yeah, when you're dating somebody and that piece of the pie is partook of, oh my gosh, you cannot wait for another slice, but
Absolutely.
eventually the pie is gone, and well, now you want another pie, a fresh pie, right? And what happens? Well, wife ain't gonna let you partake of another pie because, well, you committed to only her pie, and now we got a problem, right? Now we got hatred, now we got jealousy, now we got all types of shit going on. We're breaking up families when all that was needed was an agreement, like, hey, you know what, give me a couple of hours, with the secretary. Just give me a couple of hours, you know. I promise to be safe or whatever. I just give me a couple of hours because I need that. No,
Right.
we rather destroy a family, like my kids. I've been traveling, with them. I traveled with them 5 hours before I figured out where she wanted them, because she couldn't find a place to put them. Right? She's gonna leave on Saturday. I've had them since last Saturday. I drove all the way up here to the airport in San Antonio, and of course there was a delay, so I waited an extra hour and change to get them last Saturday, and then kept them all the way through Thursday today, because they fly out day after tomorrow. They fly out Saturday back to Boston. So, and I was gonna keep them till tomorrow, but they swapped loads on me. That I was supposed to go originally to Pennsylvania, and I could have left Saturday morning. Well, they swapped me now, gave me this POS New York load that I don't want, and I had to bring them today. And this is what we're doing. And then it gets worse. Then these women and these men, these fathers and mothers, now allow a complete stranger to discipline their non-children.
You
You
know,
think
I,
there's
we don't even have a choice. That's the problem. You and Eddie, we don't even have a choice, do we? I don't have a choice of who she brings over to her house. I have no say in
no,
it.
you don't. I mean, you do, then you're going to end up like me with problems. But I mean, you can go and
I already voiced my opinion about the stuff. What's going
yeah,
on? Great Outdoors, the Biggie. How's it going, bro? So, yeah, I mean, I know what's going on. You know what's going on. This whole system is rigged up against men. It's funny. Think about female, right? FE stands for the element iron. Iron male, Iron Maiden, Iron. What do they use iron for? To make prison bars.
Yeah.
They created the woman to be a trap, literally, like a giant Venus flytrap. I don't think
Yeah.
that women were ever meant to be the way they made them up to be. I mean, I'm not saying that women aren't supposed to have like independence or freedom of thought, or far from it. I think that what's happened to them is they've been totally taken by the system.
Oh, well, what happened is our fathers, right? The generation of our fathers, in the those born in the fifth 40s and 50s, 60s that are still around. What happened is the woman was supposed to stay home, raise the kids, and every Friday when they got paid, they got dressed up and they went to the bar. And if there was another woman involved, well, so be it, right? It was the duty of the wife to accept it. Well, that shit changed pretty damn quick, right? And you know, now there's men actually staying home and being stay-at-home dads, while the
Like
women
me,
are out. Yeah,
like me.
well, I was one too.
So
I was at
but
some
what
point
am
I
I
was one
supposed to
too.
do? I mean, if I know the creature that I end up having a child with, and I'm like,
Yeah,
if I care about, if I have even an ounce of love in me, I better be around close to where this boy is going to grow up, because he's going to have to count on me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though if it might seem like I'm enabling her, which I'm not really, because the system and everything's against me for
Right,
numerous reasons.
automatically,
Right.
automatically.
So the thing is, the best thing to do then is just to just be there for them. Although if I had the
Right.
money at this point, if I had the money and the health, I would take her to court and have full custody of them and make her pay. But
Yeah, yeah,
and I think I could get away with it, but I don't have the health, so that's the problem. So, or the
yeah.
money. So you got to think, play everything out the way was best for you and your circumstances. So for my circumstances, is like, you know what? I can't use the money or the health issue to keep me from being there for my son. So I'm going to have to live in a part of town where there's money, where I don't have money. I'm going to have to live in a dump close to, and I managed to find a place, you know what I mean? I mean, the place I ended up getting, it was so bad that I had to, this is, when I got 8 years ago, I still had my health. So enough of my health, right? I still had the MS, but I could still do stuff and, do some hard work and that kind of stuff once in a while. So anyways, so I had the driveway was just, we used to call it Lake Irons, because it would fill up in the spring and the ducks would swim in it.
Uh-huh.
So bad it was. So I had to fill that all in with literally, it turned out to be almost 3 feet of backfill and cement and all sorts of stuff, and put gravel all over the driveway. I had to do this all by hand. I had to go find people that were taking out their stone gardens and stone bedding and all that, and I just take it from them for free so I could use it as backfill. There was no front or back sidewalk. I had it built. I had to dig it out and make brick sidewalks. I had to do all this stuff in order I could have this place to be close to my son. I had to do a lot of shit to this dump in order to be close to my son. You know what I mean? So, but I did. I know I did the right thing. So, because my son's here 5 days a week, and his choice to come most of the time. It's not hers. So. But that's because she's
I'll tell you that.
an awful person. But that's but it's a combination of things. But the biggest thing is this whole system is designed to destroy families, destroy the manhood, and particularly men. It's just designed to take away anybody exhibits any kind of independence, true manlyhood, that they seem to go after one way or another. Honestly, that's my observation.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at my situation, I mean, my God, everything that I have to do, I drove 560 miles on my day off just to come get them last Saturday. Another 560 today on my day off to drop them off. Just think about that. I drove 1,100. What is it? 1,160 miles in 2 days just to see the sacrifice that I made. You know,
Right.
I'm uh, I'm out on the road, I do the same thing. You know, if they get sick or something, now I'm with a new company, but I've already talked to the dispatcher, and he's like, just let me know, and I'll work you up. I'll work you up there. And all the way to Boston, and nobody cares. You walk in for a divorce, all they want to know, they before they even know your name, they want to know what your gender is, because if you're a male, you're already wrong in the eyes of the court. You already
I know.
committed something wrong. You're just wait for the punishment, right? Because there's kids involved, right? And you don't
Right.
get to take the house. You don't get to. It doesn't matter if the woman committed adultery. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. The only thing that matters is, are you the male? And if you are, okay, you're going to lose everything. That's just the way it is, including your children.
And people try to say, well, you see, this is why we need Christianity. I'm like, wait a minute, let's step back here a little bit. Who's the one in control of the court systems? Who's the one in control of the legal system? Who's the one in control of it's not just Christians. Listen, when you look at what's really going on here, and you really look at, what did Jesus say? He said, I did not come here to bring peace, but a sword.
Yeah.
Right. And to divide father from son, from
Yep.
mother-in-law to daughter-in-law, etc., and that's what he's done. That's what Christianity has always done. And see, people don't realize this. The big lies is that Christianity was this great glue that kept families together. Did it really? Well, let's look at Europe. Let's look at all the history. Did it really keep families together, or did it keep families in line with the empire to do the bidding? Right? How many families sent their sons and daughters out to war just to die for stupid wars and causes that benefited nobody except the very elite?
Well, I mean, the
Jesus.
bigger, yeah. I mean, Constantine, right? I mean, Constantine couldn't get the Christians, or they called them Christians, but they were not Christians. But the believers in his army, he couldn't get them to fight for him, right? And so, what does he do? All of a sudden, he had a vision of Jesus. You know, had a vision of Jesus, and there you go. Now the Christians are going to fight for you, or the believers, they're going to fight
Right.
because, I mean, this is so stupid. It's so ridiculous, but people believe this. I mean, people tell me all the time, uh, why don't you choose Jesus? I said, because I'm never going to stand with someone who allows our children, to get hurt in his name, and he do absolutely nothing about it. Why would I stand with somebody like that? Why would anybody stand with this Jesus dude that enjoys the children being hurt by his disciples in his name, in his house?
Right.
Why would anybody worship this dude?
And the amazing thing is, Eddie, is that most people don't realize what we're telling them is actually the truth, because they didn't bother to put the time into it.
Right.
That even if they're atheists, or even if there's from another religion, or just totally against Christianity, I noticed they haven't really put a lot of time into the same arguments. The same weak arguments are regurgitated over and over again. They themselves want spoon-fed answers, right? That's what they want. They want the same thing. They don't want to put the time into it to know how bad the situation actually is. You know what I mean? Because that means accountability. That's another reason, and nobody's here. They'll be lucky. Be lucky. And maybe we'll get 80 views at maximum. Half of that, will actually listen to this stuff. It's not just because I'm not a likable person, or not the best of hosts. It's because they don't like the topics I bring up, in particular this one. They don't want it because it's talking this way, Eddie. it holds everyone responsible. It puts everybody there out on the playing table and say, "This is show your hands. What are you going to do about it?" But it has to be done, and I have to do it for if nothing more than to make my amends to the ethereal realm, to myself, to all those other people. I mean, I'm not kidding when I said I read the Bible all the way through twice online, Eddie. The New Testament 6 times.
Yeah.
And for me to be doing this and swallowing crow, you know what I mean? And it's just like, obviously there's something motivating me to make things right. And that's what an honorable person would do, regardless of if they believe in a God or not. An honorable person would see their mistakes and try to rectify it one way or another. But this world penalizes you for that. And this goes back to this whole thing about all these evangelical pastors and priests and every other stuff, and why they just keep pushing the agendas, because in order to be a real man, you're going to have to say, "Oops, I'm wrong. I took your money. I told you those things that are wrong." You know, and so, but then people then say, "Well, we're attacking them because this is their belief." They really believe that who they are is what they believe is their belief system, right?
Right.
And psychologically, that's just so, but not in reality, not in the physical realm, not in the multidimensional realm. You know what? Your beliefs are subject to change with the more information that you get. You have a right to, you know, you have a fair, it's a legal right now in the world for you to change your opinion. But the thing is, it's not going to happen is you're not going to be able to make a decision how the consequences are going to, how it's going to play out, right? So, you know, I think it's just like, you know, do I want to be one of these people? So, and I understand why people are you know, not going to, are being, you know, pushed away from listening to me. And then they'll use the excuse that it's just me and my communication skills, but that's okay. I'm bringing other people on that have better communication skills. And, you know, you're going to hear the truth regardless. And if you don't want to hear the truth, this is not the place to be. Please do not be here.
Well, one of the things that I realized today also when I was in deep thought was truth evolves, truth changes, truth is hardly ever the same, you know, because right now I could tell you it's nighttime, and that is the truth, right? But 7, 8 hours from now, it would no longer be the truth. Now that the truth has evolved into daytime.
Things change. They're subject to change.
Yeah, things. Yeah, like I could tell you, this year I am 49 years old. That is true. But if I told you this next year, then that would be a lie,
Correct.
right? And if you look at how Christianity has evolved, that's what they've done. They've kind of used that uh, diagram, if you will. They got a little bit of what's in the Bible, right? I'm not saying it's true, but it is in the Bible. And then they just started altering it. And they kept altering it. And then it was, you know, water baptism at some point was not required. Then they messed around with Matthew 28:19, and guess what? Now it's true. Now it is required. And it's required, not only is it required, it's required in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Wow. What a coincidence, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just constant change and the evolution of truth. You know, if Jesus came into the world today and he looked at these Christians, he'd freaking crucify himself. He'd be so embarrassed.
Is this what I created? Oh my
correct.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, or he would go and pull Paul over here by the loins or something, you know, like, dude, what the hell is this? You know?
I do.
But at the end, we're never gonna get. I agree that Christianity. Well, let me say that I'm very optimistic. When people tell me dude, like Mo Dude, right? Mo Dude 44. He's always telling his dad was a pastor. He's always telling me, dude, you're never going to bring Christianity down. I believe that I can bring it down. I believe that truth conquers all because truth is love. And if you're honest, you can conquer this deception of Christianity. And I long for the day to where I can start bringing 100, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 people a week away from this cult by just simply telling them the truth, you know. And the people that want to borrow my time, have me for hours talking to them and teaching them and showing them, then I have to do that too, right? I have to show them because a lot of people have never read Acts 2:14 and on, and yet they continuously talk about the last days. But it's impossible that there's multiple last days, right?
Right. It's going to be one.
There can only be one. So either Peter's a liar or the pastor's a liar. My money's on, if I had to bet on who was being honest, I'd probably believe Peter, the one that denied Jesus over a pastor who's telling you that the end times is in the future, when clearly it already happened.
There's so much to talk about, Eddie. We've been doing this, believe it or not, for almost 2 hours and 23 minutes. So
yeah, man.
Once
we get going, we get going.
I know. So let's see. When should we do this next? When do you want to do it next?
Whenever you want, man. Whenever you want. I got a Twitch account. I wanted to talk to you about that. If you can shoot me your digits on an email, because I have some plans that I want to do about the spiritual realm, Sasquatch, because I do believe that you are actually correct in this whole, that they are spirits and they are coming from the trees. I just, some of the stuff that I've seen, not personally, but during my research, these voices or noises that these things do, these are not animals, bro. These are not animals, like we are taught or led to believe.
No, they're not.
These things are some form of spirit because they alter their voices and they do some crazy yells. And people have caught it. So I'm working on, like I said, I'm working on expanding. I'm working on a YouTube also. I kind of wanted to stay away from it, but I'm gonna do a YouTube also account, and we're gonna go from there, man. So whenever you want to do it, I'm available. We'll set something up.
Well, if you need any help with the YouTube account, and what we also can do is, once you have a YouTube account, we can also I can make you a co-host. And so once you have a YouTube account, then this can be playing on your account along with mine as well. So
yeah.
Or if you want to use this, you can even as if you wanted to do something in particular, I just let you run here through StreamYard. So you don't have to pay the money. So I mean, I don't know. You said what the hell? You got nothing's going on? Let's do it Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be
Thursday and Saturday. So I mean, if you've got free Saturday, let's do it again. This just let's be a pest to everybody. And I know everyone's a lot of people are not gonna like it at first, but once we get it going here and get people to start thinking and see how important this discussion is, it's not just whether you believe in this religion or not. This is more. There's much more. There's deeper issues going on here.
And, there are, and there. I'm gonna begin to call myself the guardian of angels because this what is being done to our children is completely and totally unacceptable. And as I started closing out my videos on TikTok, we the people are no longer going to allow this. We the people are no longer going to allow.
You know what they did? TikTok?
What's that?
They did TikTok. I've been trying to send you messages, and they blocked us.
Yeah, there was a guy that was threatening me. So I told him I said something dumb, right? And they blocked me for that, and I appealed it. And this dude's literally threatening me, and he reported me. I put it on my Discord, on my wall of shame. I put the whole conversation on my Discord. He's literally threatening me, and they temporarily blocked me from DMing because the dude reported me because I said something stupid.
Are you
Like
still
it was
blocked?
crazy.
I,
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
still.
okay, because I
Yeah,
tried several
I'm still.
times. That's
Yeah,
like,
I'm still
well, I
blocked on
wonder.
that one. Yeah. Just but open. Do you have? I mean, open up Google Chat and use your email as you have a Gmail account or what do you? I don't remember.
I have a Gmail account. I have both. I have a Gmail account and a Yahoo account. We work. You and I exchange emails via uh, my YouTube email, but
Okay.
I mean I have a Google account as well. So
Yeah, I
for
mean you
Twitch,
can use you can use Google and open up Google Chat and we can just chat on Google. We can do video streaming, call each other on Google.
Google Chat.
Yeah, just get that app and you should be able to call me on there and we can chat
Google.
because I wanna build something. I've had this thing. I don't know if Tony's still here or not, but I told Tony years ago the people are gonna come. They're gonna buy into the truth because it is the truth. What we're speaking is truth. I mean, you've taken it, a step further, and Jeff's not even in the same damn ballpark as us anymore. This dude just flew out. He's out there on his own doing his own thing.
Yeah,
Um, but
which is expected. I'm glad that he did do it. I mean, like I said, I'm still when it comes to his uh, arrogance, when it comes to the spirit realm, that's only because of ignorance. So, but the saying that doesn't mean that what he's talking about comes to the Bible isn't true. So you got to learn
yeah,
that
no,
also at times, even friends and being friends, you say, okay, is it that important that he says one thing that I know is not true when it comes to the fact that there's things around us? Not really, because until he has his own experience, it's always just going to be belief, anyways, on his part. So, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So to me, it's just like it's understandable where he's at. Now, if he would get his butt out there and do some walking in the park, in the woods, or get out there a little bit instead of, writing books or in the office, you know what I mean? Playing video games, he might find that. But until he does that, I mean, but I'm not knocking Jeff. I'm just saying he's not right about that issue, and he's very going to be very adamant about it too. Like, so who knows? Maybe the universe or whatever is out there will knock him on his ass and make him wake up about a few things, just for his own sake. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But thinking maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. So
Well, I will tell you, Mike. I don't know if you want me to say it here or we do it offline, but I was doing this stupid video about a palm thing on a tree right in my parents' house. I was just being funny, right? And I
yeah,
recorded it.
I got it right there. If you want to play it, it's only 57 minutes long. But
Yeah, but I think that's the one on TikTok. The one on Facebook. If you look at the street, I caught an apparition on the road, bro, and I just saw it this morning. It looks like a car, but it disappears. Well, it doesn't even look like a car. It looks like a side by side or maybe an older 50s model truck or something.
uh huh.
But I've been watching it and I've been slowing it down and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Hmm.
But I don't think it's in that one because I did that one later off on TikTok. I went live on Facebook and the one on Facebook's the one that has that.
You went live on Facebook when?
Uh, was it day before yesterday or maybe yesterday?
I don't think we're still not friends on Facebook, are we? We tried to do it. I think you were supposed to send me, or you're supposed to friend me that, or something, and it never happened.
Oh,
So maybe if
oh,
you, so I had no idea that you went live. So And as far
But
as the Google Chat thing, you just want me to do what with that again? To get it, and then that will allow me to get on. Oh, we can communicate that way. Okay. I
yeah,
also
yeah,
I have Zoom too now, which I think I'm gonna get rid of, but
yeah,
I pay $17 a month for it. But if I mean, if there's a reason to keep it going, because I interviewed some people that the only way you could interview them is through Zoom, so that's the only reason to do it. But if you, because with Zoom, you can do like presentations and stuff, and we make
yeah,
recording stuff that way too. And then
yeah.
then you could then post it on your channel as well. So there's another thing, or I could post it and that kind of, or send you a link, whatever. So yeah, you make it happen, man. It's going to be a brutal ride, but you make it happen, man. As
Well,
far
I
as
mean,
the YouTube thing, because but it's so important, and I think that it's even if it's just a 500 people are following you, and only 10 of them pay attention, and of those 10, one that changes the course of their life, you've made a success out of it, I think.
well, what I started noticing, Mike, is the atheists, they run away. The believers, some of them stick around because they want to learn, but for the most part, they run away. It's these people that I gather as followers that are because I, you know, posted a video about mulberries or something, my dad's mulberry tree. Those are the people that I notice they start going through every one of my videos and they start liking them. And these people are not believers nor non-believers. I don't know what their faiths are. They're in other words,
They're like us, stuck in the middle. We're all
yeah,
stuck in the middle.
yeah, and maybe it was meant for them to see this stuff, right? Maybe some of them are going to church, right? And they want a way out, and we can help them.
I think so. I think it's an important mission. I mean, it's the clearer you have a picture of what's going on around you, you realize how important it is. And it's not about being vengeful. It's not about being mean spirited. It's
No,
actually because you actually care about people. That's what it
correct.
comes down to. You have empathy and compassion for people.
Well,
And
we know what the church, how the loving brothers and sisters at the church are going to treat them once they walk away. They're going to turn a cold shoulder.
that's true. They're gonna do worse than that. There's a good chance you could end up losing your job, your family, and everything.
Oh yeah, there's
But
there's people that have actually endured that. Yes.
and you gotta be willing. How much are you willing to stand up for? Integrity is one of those things that's we have no responsibility how other people perceive you, but you do have responsibility how you see yourself.
Well, let me tell you something, Mike, real quickly. The reason I don't post the company on TikTok that I work for is because there's people that want to report me to the company because I don't believe in Jesus. Think about how stupid that is.
It's constant. It's never ending. I get censored all the time for the things I stand for. Jeff gets banana. You get censored to banana on TikTok and everything. And all we're doing is telling the truth. It's amazing. It's a reflection of this place. It has to
Oh,
be. It's this matrix is all about it. The only way he can even maintain the illusion that it has by keep on perpetuating lies.
man, I tell you, 5, 6 days ago, I went live. Wasn't even live 5 minutes. I was bananaed immediately, man. Suspended. I filed an appeal. Didn't even say nothing. Filed an appeal, and you know what? It's not because of what you say on the lives, dude. I've noticed this. It's if you get videos reported or comments, you go live, they'll bring your live access down too. They'll take it away from you.
Yeah, I mean that's what's happened to me big time. So it's like it doesn't matter where I go. I find that I'm censored on all platforms now. Whether it's BitChute, which is like Uber is supposed to be the liberal thing from Britain. That 2-3 years ago, I mean, that's the only information you could get of the truth at one point. But and to Rumble, to was it to X, Twitter, on to TikTok, I just stopped bothering. But even here, what I mean, it's just a lot of
Yeah.
censorship that goes on. And it's a
Yeah.
shame, but I mean, it is what it is. There's not much you can do about it, and I can tell if anybody who paid attention to YouTube 7 years ago, it was better 7 years ago. But since then, the censorship has gotten so bad. But what do? I mean, do you give up? I think that's what they want us to do. I think they really want us to give up, Eddie. And I think that's why they go so hard on us. I'm not just talking about the people, the fanatical Christians. I think the Matrix, this system, wants you and I to give up on this.
Well, if that wasn't the case, Mike, they wouldn't be role-playing the Bible, right? They wouldn't be role-playing Revelations right now.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter what the book says anymore. If the unholy land is, I call it the unholy land, if it's out there attacking other
children,
countries,
children. Once again, look at how many thousands, like 15,000 ongoing. That in the past, since this Israeli nonsense started on the Palestinian side.
Well, because at the end of the day, Mike, this is all about keeping it real, man, keeping it alive. The pastors know that this is hogwash. They wouldn't be doing what they're doing, man.
Just as the rabbis do, just as the imams do.
Yep.
That's why they all wear black. Have you ever noticed that, Eddie? They all wear dressed in black. Question that?
Yeah, they've been exposed, man. You know what I mean? Like they've all been exposed. They know that this is all a lie. And I mean, think about it. The people that proclaim to be under the law, knowing that they cannot fulfill the law without a temple, and they still deceive people that way.
I know.
It's ridiculous, man.
It's pure evil is what it is. The average Joe, it's still pure ignorance it's on their end, but to the very top, it's pure evil. It has to be pure evil, and there has to be some kind of, I don't know what the connection is. If it's just a psychological telepathic type thing, how they maintain such a delusional hatred for other people and for this place. But they also seem to be serving something, a very dark force.
Yeah.
And this dark force wants you to believe in Jesus or Allah or Yahweh or anything else but yourself for some reason.
Correct. Because they know that once you realize that it's you, that the answer is within you, it's over for them. They've realized that.
And then then people start really thinking about the crimes that have been committed against you. There'll be a lot of priests and pastors and imams and rabbis in jail right now.
Yeah.
If they're lucky.
Yep.
If they're lucky. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, that's the fact. If people just really do just a cursory basic research on it, you don't even have to become an expert. Spend a few weekends of your life to research this stuff, and you'll realize this stuff is so evil. And hopefully you're not as thick as I am, because it took me like forever to figure this stuff out. And I had to talk to guys like Eddie and bounce off ideas to finally realize, oh my God, I'm in like a sex death cult. That's what I am. You know what I mean? That's what I am. I'm just in this evil cult that is just there is. And even if I try to separate the religious part and still hold on to the Jesus part, the egregore, I'm still part of it. In fact, I'm probably even a more useful tool for this entity than the ones who are stuck in the religion. Because I trap in a few of the people that have been thinking outside the box. You know what I mean? So,
well, for people that care about truth, if all they have to do is go watch 20 of my most recent videos on Holyrollah425 on TikTok, and you're going to see how much Christians really care about the children, because all of them are about the children, and their responses are, you're never going to bring Christianity down. They don't even mention the children. They don't even care about the children.
They never do they? Only if there's
No.
a perceived, believed miracle. Then they start talking about the
Yeah.
child. But the rest of them, they just throw them aside. They don't care, don't say anything about it. Don't want to know anything about it because they don't want to be exposed to who they are. By the way, Holyrollah. That's holy, then ROLLAH, right? Or is it EH?
I believe that's it. Hold on. I believe because
It's
I had to
AH.
change it.
So 425. So it's Holyrollah. I don't think it's roller. It's Rollah. So he's gonna. So you can find him on TikTok and if you want. Hell, you know what? Be free. Let's make it happen again, Sarah. I will have my son, but he'll be busy doing his thing anyways in his room. So might as well talk. And that way, maybe you can hear our conversation in the background too.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well, and another
if nobody else, maybe we'll save my son. I have to go through freaking all this bullshit. At least one layer of the bullshit. That being the hope in an egregore named Jesus to save me, or religion itself, right? Still got a lot of other things to deal with, but at least I can get that thing out of the way. I mean, jeez.
Yeah. My son Jacob, who's 12, he I, and I understand, I was out trying to make a living. When the money was good, I loved them. When I no longer had the money that I used to have, I no longer loved them. So, he's telling me all this, right? And I'm being very respectful, right? When I wanted to blow up so bad, but I listened him out. I just listened to him and I told him something that changed his life forever and our relationship forever. I'm like, son, you know that if I didn't love you, all I would do was deny you, and I would get this child support thing taken away. I wouldn't give a damn about you. But you know what? I'm risking going to jail for you because I claim you as my son, and I'm behind on child support because I was 1099 at the time. Now on W-2, now it's automatically being deducted, which is one of the reasons I went W-2 is because I don't have a choice anymore, right? They
Right.
pay it. It's garnished, right? And
No, I know.
I told him, I said, you think about what everything that you just said, and then you think about what I'm actually doing. If I didn't love you and I didn't give a damn about you, I wouldn't be risking my freedom to keep you as my son. Do you think about that? That's the last time I ever heard about anything now. Because he realizes now that if I'm willing to risk my ass going to jail because I'm behind on child support or losing my license, then I must love him, right?
Right. I see where you're coming from, man. Absolutely. We do make there's a lot of it's not very glorious when it comes to the father part and the sacrifices that are made.
Wow.
No, we don't get any much respect. But
Whenever you have a chance, or if you can close this out with Dax and Darius Rucker, the song "To Be a Man," that is my alma mater, man. That is my anthem. Because if you listen to the words on that song, it explains everything that we're going through, Mike.
Yeah, if you could send me a link to that, I mean, I can do it next time. I don't have it set up for that. So,
Okay,
what the problem is,
you.
I have to record it, and then after record it, then put it on StreamYard. I can't just play a video because the audio just goes. People can't hear it, so half the time.
Yeah.
So, and then there's all sorts of other things. So yeah, but send me a link to it, and then I'll definitely make a video of it and put it up.
All right, man.
And I guess if we're agreement, we're coming back Saturday. I mean, that's one of the things too. I'm liking this crossroads too. Eddie. It's like I don't think I'm going to learn any more from the Bigfoot community. You know what I mean? It's either it's like being pushed to be part of some cult, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to join the cult. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
made it
I
very
hear
clear
you.
over and over again, I'm not joining the cult. So
Yeah,
I'm now in a dilemma because, it's like, I don't mind interviewing people as well about it, but I mean, I'm going to be talking about deeper stuff. I mean, I'm still going to be talking about Bigfoot and Sasquatch because it is a very deep and shocking topic, but I mean, listen, I'm not, if I can't find anybody else to really talk, really talk about this stuff, what's really going on, then I'll just do it myself. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I'm not going to play this game because I see what's happening. It's like in the Bigfoot community, there's like, especially on the woo side, there's a lot of people who are trying to turn Bigfoot into some kind of demigod.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we're hardwired to do. I mean, what's wrong with us?
Yeah.
Do you really want another demigod? I can always imagine it's like Bigfoot's thinking, "Oh, thanks for making me a demigod. Thanks a lot."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, I mean that there's something going on, not only with the trees and what's going under us and around us, and we do need to talk about it. I think that's part. I mean, that's all part of the pursuit of the truth. Nothing but the truth, right? To pursue the truth, and it means it's going to take you places that you didn't want to go, that you don't want to go. But in order to find the truth, you have to push through. And if it makes you the most unpopular person in the whole wide world, you still got to do it. If that's what you value. And if you don't value it, then go back into the Matrix, because the Matrix is more than happy to gobble you up again. All it wants is more than anything is for you to operate in beliefs. Make up.
Not only does truth push you to places you don't want to go to, it pushes you to say things you don't want to say.
That's right. That's right.
Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know.
How do you know, Eddie?
Yeah.
Of course I know.
Been awesome, man. Been awesome. We'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, it looks like Saturday. Let's make it 9 for Saturday. Would that work? That's 9 Eastern. That would be 8.
Perfect.
That would be 8 for you. That way it's not 7, and that way
perfect.
I have time to do something with my son. Because usually at night he doesn't want to do anything with me. We don't really watch movies, although thanks to you, Netflix, we tried to watch a couple together, but we're like the weirdest father and son team. We don't want to watch movies. Does that make sense? He wants to do his thing. I'm going to do my thing. We do get together. We hang out. And we're there all the time with each other. But he's like, he doesn't like the movies I like. I don't like the movies he likes. He's 12 now, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, did I just dodge a bullet? Because it's good. And I don't know about this, Eddie, but for you, but for me, because we don't watch movies and stuff, or that when we get in the car, we don't like listen to the radio or anything like that. It forces us to talk.
Correct.
Isn't that shocking?
It is. It is. But in my case, in my scenario, I don't get to see my kids. Like right now, I just dropped them off, and you get the tears in the eyes, and
it sucks. I get to say every time I hand off, and I have all time. You know what I mean? I still feel
it's very tough for me, and
it's injustice
for them.
It's unjust. It's so unjust. It's so wrong. The whole
Yeah.
setup is so wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we're their damn fathers. What the hell's going on? What is some other dude wants? You know what I mean? We didn't deserve this shit. You know what I mean? Regardless, and the kids don't deserve that. And it's just like it's all designed to destroy the family nucleus completely. I'm not contradicting what you're talking about. When I say family, there was this bonding between aunts and uncles, and everybody was involved, right?
Yeah.
Now we're just like, we tossed each other away. Now listen, if you are mature adults about it, and you say, listen, we're not getting married, and I'm going to be seeing other people once in a while, and you can handle that. You're mature enough to handle it. But most of you aren't mature enough to handle it. Most of us aren't, all right? we're not mature enough to do that. So we're just extended adolescence is real.
Correct.
I got to have it my way, or that's it. We'll throw a tantrum and all that kind of stuff. But if we were to be a little more mature about everything, we'd realize that, things that we're we're prioritizing are the wrong things, and they've been conditioned in us. The wrong, it's wrong. What we're doing to ourselves and to our families. I will post it. That just did that video. If you guys ever get a chance to watch this documentary, it's called Dead Bird, or Dead Birds, one or two. And it's about this place in Indonesia, and these people that are still with quote unquote savages, right? Even though we're not savages, supposedly. But the fact of the matter is, these people still run around half naked, mostly naked, and they start hunter and gatherer societies, and how they interact with the environment in the dark. They believe in spirits still, and all this kind of stuff. And it just watch them and the tribal situation, the family thing. It's like, although they might be batshit crazy about a lot of stuff, just like all the rest of us, because I think this place is specifically designed to make human beings go crazy. This whole world is designed specifically to screw with your mind, that to cause you not to know who you are. And here's the thing: if you are not crazy in this place, there's something seriously wrong with you. Seriously, I mean that sincerely. If there's not some idiosyncrasies about you, and there's some thinking and some crazy thing then there's something seriously wrong with you. If you're happy and you're happily content with this place, well adjusted to this place, there is something seriously wrong with you. And you really need to address that, the you. And that you is the thing that's inside this meat suit, not the thing that you look in the mirror.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also on my most recent videos, I'm no longer laughing at these people that speak to God, right, and come up with some of the most ridiculous things. I'm more concerned now with their mental state, right, state of mind, because how can anyone in a sane, with a sane, open mind, or a sane functioning mind, come and record themselves saying, this is what Jesus told me, right? And he told me that, like that poor lady.
I never did that.
That I recorded.
Basically, I never did that. And I never had a conversation with Jesus. So,
yeah,
or anybody else for that matter. That's from the other side that I knew of, except for big outdoors. And when it happened, there was other people there. So it was confirmed that there's something going on that is not being fully reported. It is crazy, bro. It's absolutely insane is what's going on. I think it's designed to make you batshit crazy. Or there's another thing, too, that people are bringing up, too, and this is a whole possibility. These are parasitic type spirits, these arcana forces, they're attached to us. They're in us. In other words, just think about possession, that every one of us, regardless of what we think or what we do, this meat suit is always going to have more than one entity in it. And they're the entities that are feeding us all these negative thoughts, self-doubt, contradicting ourselves, convincing ourselves that we're talking to Jesus, or the world's going to end, right? Or that I should feel bad about the fact, like if I want to have more than one gal in my life, you know what I mean? All this kind of crazy stuff, you know what I mean? If that makes any sense. In other words, it's all designed to repress you, to depress you, to repress you, and to cause you to basically live in a chaotic schizo type lifestyle. And when people think of schizophrenics, they think of somebody in a padded, room somewhere or whatever. But I think inside us, I think we're all going through something very similar to that. I mean, just think about all the conversations that you have, the private conversations. We all do this. We all talk to ourselves one way or another, and the conversations. And it's usually about somebody we talked to the day before or whatever. and you make up all this crazy shit. And it's all contrary, and you think it's you doing it. I think a lot of times it's not us doing it. I know people will say, well, where's the evidence? Or say, I'm batshit crazy. We're saying that. But I think there's something that's influenced us at times. It's not just hormones. It's not just chemicals going on in our body. There's literally things that are literally causing us to think shit, believe in shit, not question shit. Yeah.
Think about this, right? Manson, the son of man, Manson.
Right.
That dude said he was Jesus on an interview.
And he had followers, didn't he?
Yeah. And Manson.
It's a perfect example of what Jesus probably was. Probably just like a Charles Manson. He probably had all those just having sex with this little group every night and doing.
Well, I mean, he was. I mean, he was anointing. They call it feet, but it wasn't feet. We all know. You know, we've
right.
done the research. Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of shit that was going on. You know, and but this whole Manson thing, son of man, right?
Right.
And the son of man is mentioned by Jesus, and he said he was Jesus. So here we go. You know. Conspiracy theory, truth. I mean, who the hell knows, right?
But you know, it's like how many other people consider themselves a disciple of Jesus or an apostle of Jesus or a spokesman of Jesus, and when you listen to them, it's like my friend, you know, Josh. Nobody's gonna know who we're talking about. It's not Josh hears this, which I doubt it. So, but he's still going at it. I'm just like, dude. You're a really smart cat. Why are you not pulling the trigger? Why aren't you not being honest about what you're dealing with? It's almost like there's something. I mean, there's something wired with him wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, why? Does that make sense? I'm not knocking the guy. What I'm trying to say is, it's just like he's like trying to. It's constantly making up new stuff to justify his belief in Jesus. Now that's the problem, and that's what you have to do. If you're going to keep down this road and you're going to use the brain that's been given you, you know what I mean, and the ability to discern anything, you're going to have to keep on lying yourself, making up shit, sound like a batshit crazy. You know, you're going to be irrational, illogical. And I mean, I understand that's part of the realm too, but man, dude, you just give it up, hang it up, man. I mean, he's hanging out with the same. It reduces you back to the same old psychos, or even worse. You know, that's one of the things that it caused me to finally say enough is enough. Right? It was last year, this time. I'm listening to all these like Josh and you and everyone else in their little rooms, and listening to all the endless arguing, debating, and literally arguing about stupidest shit. And it was between Christians against Christians. Alleged Christians. And I'm like, this cannot be of God. The amount of confusion and everyone yelling and judging each other and going back, this cannot be of God. And I said, this book is black magic. This is 100% black magic. And the moment I let that thing go, my thinking started clearing up. You know, I mean, it's not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but it's, I can perceive, I can think better. I can be more aware and honest about what's going on, you know? And this whole thing about being alone, well, I don't, do you feel alone, Eddie? You know, we're alone. I mean, I don't feel alone.
I'm alone. Most of my life, the past 6 years, I've been alone.
But do you feel alone, like inside, like really, like you gotta be with somebody, you gotta be, or you gotta be with Jesus, or you gotta have something out there to hold on to. No, I think when you start letting go of all this shit, you start to find your own self. You start to have some kind of understanding or peace with that which is you, the good, bad, and the ugly, regardless. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, Ed. We've been
No, it
going at
does. Yeah.
we've been going at this for 3 hours, so I'm going to end this live. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me, and for those that are still sticking around and listening. And those who, go back and go back to the beginning and listen to the stuff and really think about what we said. I understand where we're going at. We're not really going, how do we say this? We're saying this because we genuinely have empathy and compassion for this place and how everyone's been victimized by this thing, this system called Christianity. And it really we need to do something about it. But I mean, we don't want to replace it with another damn cult and another,
Correct.
but what I want to do is get people to realize how you're being victimized by this thing.
Correct.
And stand up against it. And we're not telling you to bomb the place or do anything drastic. We're just saying, you know what? Just stand up. Say no. That's the most powerful thing you could do in this place, I discovered, is non-compliance, not to be part of it. So, anyways, anything last words?
Nope. That was it was a beautiful 3 hours, and hopefully we'll pick up where we left off on Saturday, man.
That's the plan, man. All right, folks, I'm going to end this with some music, just because I'm learning to love music again. So even some of the stuff that I never thought would be music, but that's what I want to do. I want to play some more of this. Let's see where we're at. I don't want to do that. I want to do something cool. Let's see. Intrude dreams that comes from more. No. Let's do this one. This is Scuba Moodle Laser Eel.